What is up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of AoS Trash Pandas. I'm your host, Rob, and with me, as usual, is Carson. What's up, Carson?
Not too much. How are you?
I'm pretty
doing
good.
Pretty well. I don't know. You didn't ask yet. I'm doing pretty well. Sorry, I messed that up. All right, let's just fumble through everything at this point. Meat to mention, yay! Here. More meat to mention. Here's the little Stormcast bottle opener. My dog is very angry in the background.
Why are you rushing through it? Wait, did you
the
really?
sound from the stream is on my other window. I haven't muted it, so I'm just hearing us talk. I can't hear you right now because it's so loud. Sorry, 1 second. Okay. Beer. We're done. I just muted it. I've got my beer. We're good.
Did you get a Stormcast bottle opener?
I gotta calm down from all of that. That was a lot. Sorry. This was actually, I won this from the, or they have like a box of prizes, I guess, whenever you go to the US Open tournaments, and this is one of the things that I picked up.
Damn. I'm jealous. Like, I'm not even a Stormcast guy, and I'm super jealous.
It's pretty good. It kind of sucks at opening bottles, which is literally its only purpose, but...
And I think it kind of stabs you when you do it, too, right?
Oh, it definitely does. Well, ooh, magnets. It's kind of like you put your fingers through there, and it's okay.
Oh, okay.
But, yeah, if you don't do that, yeah, you're going to get stabbed.
I mean, you can always use it for punching.
True.
Yeah. Yo, what is up, Matthew Key? Thanks for joining us, everyone. So we have a lot of complete and utter nonsense to talk about. Nothing like meaty. Carson and I were both like praying to our, whichever god that we pray to, right? You're praying to the Great Maw, exactly. I was praying to the Horned One, and Mathlin. I was praying to too many, and maybe that was what, we got some signals crossed up. I'm not sure, but anyway, we were really hoping to do the review show for the Battle Scroll. Why don't you tell everyone I think you heard a theory on why it didn't come out today like the 40K one did
on a Tuesday?
On a Tuesday.
Yeah. So this is just pure conjecture. I saw someone say it online, and my hopium kind of like latched onto it, and I was like, yes, that's why it's not today. It's definitely Thursday. So the reason is essentially that like the 40K data slate was supposed to come out in January. They said that in like some Warcom article that it's coming in January.
Yeah.
And then the reason why it didn't come out on Thursday is because it was
February 2nd.
No, 1st, I think. It was like barely February.
Oh, okay. But then why wouldn't they do it on Wednesday?
I don't know.
Okay, fair enough.
Maybe something else is the Wednesday. Maybe I don't know.
Oh, Carson has an echo. Okay. I do have a new setup tonight, and I'm going to try and figure out why that is. Please continue.
But anyway, that's why, supposedly, that's the hopium version of why the data slate came out on a Tuesday, and this one didn't come out on also a Tuesday. So there's still hope that it comes out this Thursday. Also, there definitely is an echo. I can hear myself a bit.
That's so weird. Okay, I will... let me know if that fixed it, please.
Hello, I'm talking, blah, 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 blah. Sounds okay.
Okay. I'm not sure. I shouldn't have corrected two things. But yeah, we've got a new system, so yeah. The idea being that it's fixed. Okay, awesome. Thanks, guys. Here, actually, you know what? I'm going to turn this up a little bit again, and then let me know if it comes back. I just want to be able to... I turned it down, I turned down my own speakers way down just to make sure that we got it. Now, thinking about it, now he's underwater? Please say that's not true.
Am I underwater? Is that what it actually sounds like to people?
He hasn't changed for me, but this system is, yeah. Streamlabs is not great. But yeah, so we got the new overlay up. Hope you guys like it. Just to add a little bit more flair to it. And hopefully it's, a little bit better looking. I don't know. If it isn't, then let me know. It's the easiest thing in the world to just delete it. He's way in the background. Okay.
Maybe they just like hearing me through your speaker or something.
Maybe that's what was happening before. Well, they couldn't have been hearing you before. Like, okay, one second. Let me. Okay, let's see. Let Carson test things. Well, he can't because. Unfortunately, he's not here. Okay, so. yeah, exactly. I promised nonsense, and we delivered nonsense. Why don't you postulate what you think this week's rumor engine is, and then that way they can.
I'm gonna do one more test to see if people can actually properly hear me first.
Sure.
Before I do that.
Yeah, you could always turn up your gain. Maybe, I don't know.
Am I quiet to you?
No, you're fine to me, but I can always adjust. I can actually adjust how loud you are on my end. Yeah, I'm using. So what happened last week was I started using this new hookup for my microphone, and I didn't have the software downloaded because it arrived that day. He's way quiet still. Okay. Let us. So he's maxed out on there. Tell you what. Okay. We didn't have this problem. I actually tested it ahead of time with my wife. I got her to come in here, make sure everything was perfect, recorded it, no echo, no nothing, heard her perfectly.
Through a call?
What's that? It's literally through the exact same Google meeting, like not even a different meeting. I had her come into this meeting, and yeah, everything worked perfectly. So that's pretty annoying. Streamlabs is notoriously weird though. So like we've had an echo before, and I don't know. Yeah.
I mean, that could be a hardware thing. It could just be them hearing me through your speakers, right? Like, because when my voice comes out of your speaker,
yeah,
it hits your mic.
But we've never had that before. This has always been the case.
The angle of the mic could have slightly changed. Anything could have.
That's true.
Changed, right?
Here, okay. I'm gonna turn that back on. So now you're coming. You should be coming in separate.
Hello, hello, hello. I can hear myself now, like perfectly. Jeez.
Okay then. So let us do. The ironic thing is we're trying to add to it. Okay. Oh my God. Okay. Can you hear yourself now?
Testing, talking.
Oh.
Nope, I don't think so. No, I can't hear myself.
I couldn't hear you at all either.
Good.
Oh my God. What a disaster. I spent so much time doing this too. That's so annoying.
According to
it's perfect now?
Apparently, but you said you couldn't hear me, which is it's just great. I love that.
Wait, is it fine now?
Let's give it just a little bit, because they might be reacting to like previous settings or something like that. So
you know what I did? I went back to the original settings, the settings that were working with my wife. Didn't change a thing.
Okay. I'm just keeping an eye on the chat just to.
I didn't.
Dale says no. I don't know what no means. A little more.
Do you hear an
explanation
echo?
Would be good. No, and then two separate messages. No, and then echo. Does
So
that
is
mean
it no echo?
There was an echo or no echo? Dale, you gotta.
Speaking
gotta
complete
elaborate
sentences?
a little
more. Yeah. Let us know. So Oh, I think Dale's a little behind. Hello. Thanks for joining us, everyone, while we test out these new settings that were totally working a second ago. But I guess maybe it was... Yes, there is an echo right now. Does anyone else hear the echo but Dale?
Well, Mr.
He's got his
fine. I don't know how to
fine.
pronounce his first name, but Mr. Janowski, I think, said it right, where when you didn't hear me, it was perfect for them. No echo. So the echo must be the speakers.
Yes.
Which I think makes sense.
Does anyone else hear an echo but Dale? Seems to be fine now. Okay.
Okay. Don't touch anything.
Not even my mouse. Yeah. This is going to be an interesting show.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, thank God.
Okay. Oh, yes, but it's tolerable. God dang it. Okay.
Maybe just lower your speaker volume or something.
Sure.
I've
lowered it again.
Okay.
Okay. Let us know. So, this is the rumor engine.
Yes.
It looks like it's a 40K thing.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I don't know what it would be though. It's kind of weird looking.
Yeah. Maybe like a... You guys don't hear me at all? It's showing up on here. Okay.
He's kidding. He's
okay.
kidding. It's okay. Yeah.
Okay. So.
Yeah. Just
40K thing.
Just gonna reset.
40K thing.
More Kroot that could make sense for sure.
That's
They're
what
releasing Kroot
that's
as
what I was
like a
gonna
standalone army.
Like it looks kind of almost like a ghillie suit or something like that for Kroot.
Those are really weird shape though. It's like it's like cheese strings on his cape. It's really weird.
True. But I mean, have you seen like the sniper rifle guys with their eye like literally like against the scope? Like that would just be like getting punched by a Tyranid every time you shot the gun in the eye. It's not always the most realistic, or like turrets that only face the front of their tanks and whatnot. They like to have fun.
40,000 years in the future, baby.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
Where things have regressed considerably. We're thinking camo cloak too, Matthew. I think that's a good call. It reminds me of a mud flap. Yeah, that's funny. With like grenades dangling down next to them as well. Or something. I don't know. It's a 40K thing. We're not really all about 40K here. So then just a reminder that if you were able to sit through our retesting the speakers, that was like the third time. Me and Carson did it afterward last week, and then we did it after I downloaded and figured out the program, and then I did it anyway. The Skaven crossword is still up. I made it for free just for fun. It's in the link of the description. I'll be deleting it next week, but for anyone who wanted to do it and maybe didn't, stick around for the entire podcast, because I brought it in there like halfway through or near the end or something. So there it is again. If you want it, it's up there. It's totally free, obviously. Enjoy, and then another piece of news is Tyler Emerson has a new set of War Coda battle plans. Again, totally for free. They are there's 12 different missions. You can download them, and we played one of them. Do you remember what the name of it was?
Battle for the Pass.
Battle for the Pass. We played that one in a battle report on whenever we did that. Was that yesterday?
That was yesterday.
It feels like ages ago. It's crazy. My Tuesdays are always really busy. So yeah, we did that, and so that will be the next one out. It is It's Carson versus Andy's Sylvaneth. Carson brings a different ogres list, different for him. So it's a really good battle report. Some hilarious stuff happens. If you saw the last one with me and Will, some similar shenanigans kind of happen in that one. It's very good. It's very funny. That Tyler is a good egg. He's a great egg. I've known Tyler for, I don't know, 6 years now or so, since around when I had my old channel, and he is absolute salt of the earth, great guy. So yeah, check it out, download and support. And then I don't know if it's not been a great news week. So if we're gonna have any of these technical problems, this was the week to do it. But
that's true.
There's this support package for local stores.
Yeah, so this one's kind of interesting. I've heard that it's not free, first of all. Like, you have to have a store to get this. And I've also heard that it's actually kind of really expensive.
Yes.
And for the same price, you're further ahead just to kind of like print your own specific trophy, or it's not print your own, but like buy your own like same quality glass trophies. You can print out certificates, that sort of stuff. So I don't know how to feel about this. Unfortunately, a lot of this is like very private because you have to own a business to probably know the price of this. But I'd be curious to see how much this actually costs, especially now that this year they've added all those measuring widgets.
Yes.
Instead of last year not having them.
So I do know a little bit about this because, as you probably know, I used to run the campaigns out of a local store here in North Vancouver. And this is like a huge upgrade in terms of what it comes with. Mostly, so like when I did the Kill Team one, the big ooh, it comes with was these like clear plastic tokens with numbered objective markers, and they were like hexagonal. And that was we thought that was really cool. But even that, I think it was like $120 or $150 for that. And it didn't come with anything metal. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I think this one's probably well over $200. I wouldn't be surprised if it was more like $300. And so I don't know, man. I think it's going to be tough. I don't think they're going to see the return on this that they're kind of hoping for, like obviously, like I would hope that they don't really make money on these things. I think that would be kind of bad because it's basically used by the stores to promote their game.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of my thoughts too. Like, I was honestly surprised these weren't close to free, to be honest. Or like, I would understand if they weren't free, if it was like more publicly available, anyone could buy them, and it's like a tournament kit.
Yeah.
But if these are supposed to be going to stores that are already selling Warhammer product, wouldn't it make sense to kind of just like throw those stores a bone as long as they meet like a certain amount of criteria? Like, you have to have X amount of people for a tournament, or maybe like X amount of sales or something like that. And then here you go, here's your little kit. Because it wouldn't cost them that much, I would assume. So
exactly. And I mean, honestly, even if they didn't do metal gauges, like even if they did the rubber or whatever, like if it's such a huge difference, and no one cares about a little glass trophy store champion. Like, I'm just being real, like just in case this ever kind of gets to them. But yeah, anyway, it's fine, but like, it really just depends on the cost of it, like we were kind of saying. But I'm sure that it's like too much, frankly. But by the way, if someone is doing it, what we did for one of the, because like early on they were really good, and I think they were free. Like, I think the support for like Malign, no, he did have to pay something for Malign Portents. Anyway, putting that aside, what you can do is if you are a store owner, or if you are like one of the local community people, like I kind of was before, organizing these things, you can just kind of like say to your group, like, hey, do we want to pay for half of it or pay for all of it or whatever, so we can run this little thing. Like if it's something that will get your group excited, then there's nothing to say that you can't go to the store owner like we did, because he didn't really see a return on the first couple. And so then after that, he was kind of like, yeah, I mean, if you guys want, I'll order it, but then you kind of have to pay for it. And so when they were good, and like at least these have a combat gauge, you know what I mean? And it's like a unique combat gauge. Maybe you collect them. I don't know. But regardless, combat gauges are very useful. This is probably the least useful one, if we're being honest, that I've seen, because it doesn't have the half-inch measurement, which you need for your charges. But anyway, yeah, we put in like, I think it was like $15 each or something. Yeah.
Something interesting though.
Please.
And maybe this is just me being like crazy, but
yep. Likely.
Maybe half-inch isn't going to matter in 4th edition.
Ooh.
And these are future-proofed.
Ooh. I doubt it, but that'd be cool.
That's a long pause.
Yeah, well, because like so you even need them in 40K. Like the charge distance in 40K is you got to be outside of 1 inch, and you'd have to be inside of 1 inch when you do charge. There's no half-inch there, but you do have to be within half an inch or half an inch of half an inch when you're doing combat. So, but
okay,
who knows? Maybe it'll be an inch and an inch with an inch. Maybe there will be no,
or maybe it'll be base-to-base contact kind of thing.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. That's true. That would probably be a lot easier, frankly.
Yeah, something to think about. That's that's assuming these aren't just bad gauges. But or not bad, but like
they're not bad. Like I could always use, because you need them just like, you know, when we play, and I'm sure you guys at home do the same thing. But like if you have a few of them, you can put them out in front, so that way you never move your guys within 3 inches of anyone. Like not just one, you know. Like usually you need more than one. Anyway, yeah, is what within 1 inch or 1 inch or inch bases to base with someone who is that's right, actually. Yeah, half an inch, within half an inch was 9th. And
interesting. But Asri says half inch of half inch to fight is the running theory.
It is the running theory. You know what though, I actually think you guys are probably right that maybe we just don't use it after this. We don't need a half inch, but like, you know what, that would be kind of better. Don't you think that would be better? Instead of having to be within half an inch, you had to be within 1 inch when you charge.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot more sense. Because I think the more they can do to kind of get rid of all these weird math, that you have to do where you're like rounding up and rounding down, like it would be much easier to be like, it says less than 11 on the measurement, so I have to make a 10-inch charge, right?
Yeah.
If it's not up to the next number, then I just round down. There's no like 0.5s that you have to measure, that sort of stuff. So I think it could be simpler for sure.
That would be cool. Anyway, I think we've spent enough time on this particular thing, but it is interesting. We didn't see them for a while. Like we saw them like, every 6 months to a year. There was something like this before COVID, and then after COVID, I don't remember them doing it again. They might have. I'm not saying they didn't. I'm just saying I don't remember it, and so they've definitely slowed down. And I think the box art is actually really dope. I meant to say that, but
yeah. I think it'll be interesting to see how many stores actually buy this. Not even just for the price reason, but I don't know of any stores that have 16 tables at them.
Right.
For a 32-person event.
So, is this 30? Is that 32 combat gauges?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it is.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Wow. Dang. You know what? It all depends on the cost, but like, when we were doing this kind of thing, we were running like slow grows and that kind of thing, but 32 is a lot. That's a lot of people. But then again, you could always run it twice or something. Or like if you have 16 people, then everyone puts in whatever, and then they get 2 combat gauges. You know, I don't know.
That's true.
40. I saw an intro. Oh yeah, Matthew said the only thing I prefer about 40K is combat and charging. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel.
Yeah. Also, just this is just like a note for later. We should talk about the U.S. Open Series because that was announced as well.
That's the next slide.
Oh.
Yeah.
Whoops.
So, oh wait, no, it's not the next slide. There it is. It was the slide after that. The U.S. Open 2024. I brought this up because, like, literally, I was like, you know, you'll wanna. I knew that you guys would want to talk about it. So, they showed it. Dallas, Tacoma, Tampa Bay, and Atlanta. First of all, what do you think about where they're hosting everything?
It's kind of interesting that there's nothing in the Midwest.
And
sorry,
like yeah, I mean, I'm thinking the same thing you are. Yeah, or in the East, like the Northeast or something.
There's a lot of areas that aren't covered. Like nothing in California is kind of odd. I wonder sometimes if they're like going based on where there are already really big tournaments, because we've got Old Town Throwdown and Las Vegas Open that are in Nevada and California.
That's true.
Which that's a pretty good coverage. I'm not sure. Where is Adepticon?
Matthew says Northeast. Get wrecked. I love the lack of sympathy. That's beautiful. Sorry,
but,
Adepticon is in Chicago.
Sorry?
Adepticon's in Chicago, or near there. It's in Illinois.
Okay, so that kind of covers the Northeast a little bit.
Kind of. It's Midwest.
Midwest, my bad. Yeah. I don't know American geography. My bad, that's Midwest.
But like,
and then I know that you've got Grand Clash in that's Quebec, but that's in Trois-Rivières, which is northeast-ish for the U.S. Like
right. So, but like, I think the point though is they could be a little better spaced out, right? If they're going to do it, if GW is going to do an open tournament. Now, obviously, they're going to places that aren't super expensive for land, like hosting stuff, right? Northeast, California are the 2 most expensive places. But it would have been cool if they, like, even if they did it in like Nevada or something like that. Like, I mean, we're really happy that it's in Tacoma because that's like the only place in the States that would have been, close and easy for us, other than Seattle or whatever, right? Yeah. But yeah, no, it's actually really great for us. So I'm super happy about it. But
it is, and they're pretty well spaced out. I think. Like I know that I can't remember. It's either Tampa Bay or Dallas is going to be in May. Tacoma is going to be in July, and then the other one of the two that I wasn't sure about, Dallas or Tampa Bay, is going to be in like October, I think, is the last one. So there's a couple months between each one, so you could theoretically go to all of them if you wanted to travel around the States.
I like it.
And then Atlanta is going to be like late November. It's like,
well, the one is there an like a U.S. Open tournament in Atlanta, or is that just a World Championship?
That's the World Championships.
Okay, so you have to go to one of the other ones to get to go to Atlanta, right?
There's actually a lot of golden tickets being given out outside of these tournaments. So each of these tournaments, if it's the same as last year, will have 2 golden tickets to give out. Number 1 is going to be to the best general, which is the person that just comes first place. And number 2 is to best overall, which is the person who does the best via like a combined generalship and painting score.
Oh, cool.
So, and that last year at Tacoma, that was Ricky Fisher and Jeremy Lemoyne. So basically 6 tickets from that. And then I remember seeing that already, like, and that was like weeks ago now, more than double of the golden tickets of the previous year had been issued, like given out. So it's going to be a way bigger World Championship. Like, I think last year it was like 87 people at the end, or maybe 90 people.
Wow.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's 200 people at the World Championships this year.
Really?
Yeah, and they're doing a big focus on not the U.S. So they're keeping the same amount of tickets in the U.S., as there were last year.
Oh, I see.
And then they're like doubling or even tripling sometimes tickets in other countries. And anecdotally, even in our local scene, Sparkle Party's got a ticket. Kick Your Death has 2 tickets, which is pretty crazy. Wet Coast has a ticket. Like, we've got 4 tickets in Canada in our local area. And then we've got another at least 3 tickets just south of the border. So there's 7 tickets that I know of in the Pacific Northwest, whereas last year there was just 3. So it was over doubled.
Yeah. You want one in Hawaii, Pro Gamester? I think, and I'm not being a dick about it, but like the best way is to grow your scene. Like, you know what I mean? Like even start your own tournament. Dale started Cake or Death. Was it a year ago? Is this only the second Cake or Death?
Yeah, it's only the second one.
There you go.
Last year was a huge hit. It was an awesome event.
Yeah.
So
yeah, he literally did it last year for the first time ever, and now this year he's got 60 entrants.
62 people.
62 people.
And he sold out in one day.
In one day. Yeah.
One day. I'm pretty sure if Dale wanted to organize like a 100-person tournament, he could easily do it.
Yeah.
Like, people know that he runs a good tournament now, so.
Yep, exactly.
I'm not surprised he got 2 golden tickets because of it.
And I mean, I'm sure it might be more difficult in some places than others. Like Hawaii might be, like it's another one of those places where land is scarce and stuff tends to be more expensive, I'm sure. But where there's a will, there's a way. There's usually like, like Dale's very lucky with his venue, but so like, you know what I mean? Like we know it's not going to be super easy necessarily, but you can grow your scene that way. And like, even just talk to your local games workshop, or you know what I mean? Like, yeah, just get out there, man. And I say that as someone who's never hosted a tournament ever. So yeah, it's very easy to say.
It's easy.
Yeah,
just
exactly.
Do it.
Yeah, just do it, guys. What up, Sean? Thanks for joining us. Thanks for everyone for joining us. You guys are being hilarious as usual.
Yeah. Ooh, what? Oh, sorry. You're going to read out more chat stuff and then I'll say something.
Yes. So Carson was not offered 2 at LVO. He was offered a second golden ticket because he'd already gotten one from getting into the finals at WCW. So they didn't offer him 2, which would have been awesome.
I don't think it's possible. You have to win either general or overall.
It would be like a mistake. You know what I mean? Like best painting, or no, they don't have one for best painting, but like, yeah, you get it.
It'd be kind of cruel if they had one just for best painting, because you could theoretically be a terrible Warhammer player and amazing painter. So someone just shows up to Atlanta and be like, let's play some fun games, guys. And just
exactly.
Gets smashed.
I brought 4 Eidolons. Like, oh, you sweet summer child. Yeah, exactly. It's the cake, Sean says. I mean, that's probably part of it. Maybe talk to Dale, and you can. He might let you borrow his IP or something and run Cake or Death Honolulu, or I don't know. Like, I don't know. I for those who are playing bingo tonight, I'm going to use a fighting game analogy, but there's the biggest fighting game tournament in the world by far is called EVO, Evolution Fighting Championship, and it's in Las Vegas every year. But now they've had EVO Japan. I think they're going to do the 3rd one this year. And they've done, I think they did EVO Paris like a year or 2 ago. So like you can definitely do it. I'm not necessarily saying that he will lend you his IP, but you can make your own IP, Pie or Death. That's the event that me and Carson would actually prefer to go to, because we are both bigger fans of pie than of cake. But so
pastries or perish.
Pastries or perish, exactly.
There you go.
Yeah.
Also, my partner brought up a good point, which the idea for Cake or Death is that, like, if you get beat really quickly, you can just go have cake and have a good time.
That's true.
So it's not cake or death. You're dying and you get to eat cake.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
I actually brought that up to him the very first year he was going to do it, and I don't remember what he said.
It's mostly expletives, I assume. But,
yeah. Well, and it was like an old tournament that they used to have in the Warhammer Fantasy Battle days. And so, yeah, he basically, resurrected it like Nagash might. Yeah.
That's fair.
Shouldn't there be 4.0 before summer, so before some of these tours. That's actually a really good point.
Luau death. Nice.
Death.
Yes,
I would go there.
So my prediction is that I'm pretty sure it's Dallas that's first. I think Tampa Bay is last. So I think probably what will happen is Dallas will be AoS 3, and then both Tacoma and Tampa Bay will be AoS 4. Because Tacoma is July 19th.
July 19th? That's like right around when they usually come out.
Well, 10th came out last June, didn't it? It's usually 10th? June.
Ooh, did it?
I think so. Because it's
usually July,
they used 10th at Tacoma last year, and it was like the first big tournament of the edition.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, so it's promoting emotional eating? Yeah.
Yep. That's our whole hobby. And emotional drinking too.
Emotional drinking too. Yeah. Pro Gamester says in Hawaii there's no games workshops. It's so weird. Yeah, I didn't know that actually. That's really interesting. Hopefully you guys have like local stores. It was June, but like we can look it up, but I think AoS 3 and 2 were both July. And I guess 9th isn't actually a great sort of gauge. Wait, when did 9th come out? It was 20...
According to Google, Age of Sigmar Tour Book 2nd Edition came out June 16th, 2018.
What? Well, then what do I know? Wait, June 2016. Oh, that was 2nd edition. Wait, no. That was the 1st edition.
Nope, that was 2nd edition.
Wait, what? No,
2018?
Oh, 2018. I thought you said 2016. Okay, never mind.
No.
Withdrawn, Your Honor.
3rd edition of AoS was released in June 2021. It's been June every time, or both times.
What am I talking about, Carson?
I don't know. I mean, that's also just Google. For all I know, it's just lying to me. But
that is so weird. I could have sworn. Oh no, wait, but that was that was the PDF thing that they released. So we were kind of reading that. But I think Dominion. When did Dominion come out?
Well, that's not what would matter for this tournament, though.
Well, Oh, I see. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Because if everyone has the PDF, if they do the same thing this time, that's fair.
I'm pretty sure Tacoma is going to be AoS 4. I'm almost positive, actually.
I just wanted to know for my own edification to see how crazy I was or wasn't. Like, I know I'm crazy, but I'm just like, I'm trying to get a gauge on it. You know what I mean? Like, see what percentile exactly. You know, I want to narrow it down. Am I a Mortarch of delusion, or am I just,
July 3rd was when the Dominion box came out.
Okay. So it was in July. Okay.
Which is actually still enough time for it to have been valid for...
That's true. I actually didn't remember that. I actually did think that it was mid-July. I don't know why. I remember the first edition... Oh, the first 3rd edition GT was 3rd weekend in July. A month. Interesting. So
one big thing to talk about for these as well. Mm-hmm. I don't know what the format of the World Championships is going to be. I assume it's going to be something similar. But they are changing at least the Tacoma Open to be a 3-day event instead of a 2-day event.
Whoa!
And the reason for that is because last year, I think it was like almost 100 people were at the Tacoma event.
Yeah. And
so they had to do 3 games on Saturday, a shadow round on Saturday night, and then 2 games on Sunday, which is really rough. 4 games in a day is pretty not great. So what they're doing instead is I think they're doing 2, 3, and 3, or it's 8 games basically, or no, 7 games. It's 3 days.
2, 3, and 3. I see. So it's 2 and 3 if you're a normal person, and then if you're in the top whatever, then it's possibly another 2 games. Is that how it works?
So it's going to be, I'd imagine it's going to be like Las Vegas Open format, where essentially what you have is either 2 games, then 3 games, or 3 games, then 2 games. Basically, you play 5 games.
Yeah.
Then if you get into the top 8,
okay, that's what I was saying.
You do double elimination. I don't know if it's going to be that, or if it's going to be like, what's it called? if it's going to be that or it's going to be just everybody plays 8 games and see what happens. I assume they're going to do like a top cut after 5 games. That makes the most sense, but yeah.
That makes sense.
Asri says they're doing a bracket split after the 4th round. I don't know what I'm talking about then. That's the weirdest thing I've ever heard.
What?
After 4 rounds? That's odd.
Wait, didn't they do something weird like that last year? I think they did. No?
They did it after 3 games. Yeah.
Okay, that's also bad.
Yeah. But it was over 5 total games. So.
Oh my goodness. After the 4th round, that's wild.
Yeah. But either way, it's a 3-day event, which it sucks for people that have to travel and it'll cost more for accommodations and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And work. But I understand. Because if you have 150, 200 people showing up, 5 games just doesn't cut it for narrowing it down enough.
Yeah.
Because at a certain point, you're kind of not really... You're not having a podium that's based on like truly these people have faced all of the best people and they won. Yep. You're more so just doing like how many backflips can I do while I beat my opponent like super hard into the ground, which is a little bit.
And some people might
not as nice.
And some people might just be like more kind-hearted and not want to push people into the dirt harder just to try and get that win. You know what I mean? In the final round, you don't really want to reward people for pushing people's face into the dirt. You want to reward them for winning and just
winning.
Being yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, in an ideal world there would be 1 undefeated player at any tournament. Unfortunately, that just due to time constraints that can't be the case if you have like hundreds of people, so.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's true.
I guess at the Las Vegas Open they did that, but it had to be 3 days.
Well, yeah, I mean, doesn't the tournament start on Thursday?
No, it's Friday, Saturday. You play
it?
5 games, and then
okay.
If you make it into the top 8, and then on Saturday night you could play a shadow round to kind of like cull it down to a top 8. So you could lose your shadow round game, therefore you've been defeated, or you get to the top 8 and then it's double elimination. It's single elimination actually.
That's true. Yeah, I totally agree with what everyone's saying. It can be rough, but the thing is like all of these tournaments, like it just is what it is, and like, we're not being heartless about it. We're not just saying, well, if you're really a big fan of Age of Sigmar and you want to be in the tournament scene, then you just gotta do what you gotta do. It just sucks for everyone. There's nothing that can be done. You know what I mean? Like, they can't make it any shorter, like, and still have a proper winner where it's satisfying to everyone. But yeah, I mean, there's the thing is though is you don't need to go to the US Open. You can just, there's golden ticket events all over the bloody place. Not unfortunately if you're in Hawaii, but hopefully they have cheap flights, and you know what I mean? You can go to like just a local tournament, Yeah.
It's the unfortunate part about tournaments is that usually unless you live in a really high tournament area, it's kind of a pay to play, right?
Yeah.
Like you have to pay to, either drive or plane out. You have to pay for your hotel. If you don't have vacation days at work, you got to pay for whatever time you're just not being there. I know some people in our club, that's the case, where they work weekends, so they're just skipping out on a weekend at work essentially, which kind of sucks.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's how it goes.
It's like that for everything too. Like even stuff that's not like a 3-hour board game with, hundreds of models and stuff like that. Fighting games, for example, Evo starts, I think it's more than 3 days. There's thousands of entrants for every game, but still it's just, it is what it is. So, yep. But the good thing is though too, is that like people don't make a living off of playing Age of Sigmar or 40K yet. And hopefully it'll stay that way, to be honest, because I just don't think this works as like a competitive esport kind of thing. but so you're spending money anyway. You're really going for the experience. So yeah, if you can't do that, maybe you'll maybe just go, like, there's lots of other tournaments that don't have don't have golden tickets and stuff like that. So yeah,
you can organize an RTT in your basement if you want.
Actually can. Yeah. What's the smallest RTT you've ever entered? Like 12 people?
Smallest one I've ever entered?
Yeah.
10, 11 people, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So most local game stores can handle that,
Yeah, you could do 8 people if you wanted to.
Yeah, and what I did too is, like, I would host campaigns, and we've also done leagues before. Anyway, you guys get it. That's called life. Luke said it best. It's life. It is what it is. Yeah. Exactly. You nailed it.
Yep.
So then another piece of news. I don't know if you guys care about this stuff, so full disclosure, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not as into tournaments, but maybe there's other people out there that like this kind of thing. They did like the best covers kind of thing, and I love art, so I just thought I would bring it up. We won't, because it's 40K related. They didn't do like fantasy and Age of Sigmar and stuff like that. Because if they did, I would be like, let's vote. Let's like we'll vote just us. You know what I mean? Like, what do you guys think in the chat and in the comment section? But that's not the case. So I actually really like the last one, the one with the angel on the front. But anyway, so then the Sunday preview, it's also Black Library related. It's all Black Library stuff. There's like one miniature coming, but it's mostly books. So I just thought I'd bring that up. I thought that was it's kind of cool that they do that every now and again. I wish they wouldn't, like, rather than separate it. This is just me personally, and maybe other people out there feel the same way, or maybe they don't, but I wish they wouldn't separate it Black Library and other. Like, we got kind of lucky with the Flesh Eater Courts release, because like I noticed I went to look at something, and it was on I forget what it was, like a Monday or a Tuesday or something like that. And I just went to look at it on the store. But because a 40K thing had released and the store is utter garbage now, I had to like line up, like I had to be in a queue. But I was trying to look it up on my phone. And if you don't leave the browser open and your phone unlocked, then it resets or whatever. It's like, yo, you're not there anymore, so you're out of the queue now. So I just like could not go onto their website that day and look something up. Isn't that madness?
Yeah. That's super odd.
It's so bad. So anyway, I kind of, just for that reason alone, I wish they would just separate like Age of Sigmar 1 week and then 40K the next. And then like, even if they're doing a Black Library thing, do 40K books with the 40K thing, Age of Sigmar books with the Age of Sigmar thing, you know? Like, because even if you like, if you're an Age of Sigmar person, like I'm more into the books than most people who play the game, right? But even for me, I'm like, I wonder if there's any Age of Sigmar books in here. And I have to like root through it to find it, right? But if it was like coming with the Age of Sigmar stuff, I would just scroll down through all the Age of Sigmar stuff that I'm already interested in. And even if it's at the bottom, be like, oh, there's an Age of Sigmar book. Well, I can order it at the same time because I'm going on the website anyway to order my Age of Sigmar stuff. You guys get it. I'll stop complaining now, but like, I actually just, I do care about it because I do like reading and that kind of thing. So I like reading about the universe, but yeah. Gotten a Squarespace and their website would have been better. Absolutely. It would have loaded quicker and all sorts of other stuff. But yeah. Mr. Janowski, or I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your first name, but Makiej? I'm going to say...
Can you put a phonetic pronunciation in the chat for us, please?
Yes, please. Thank you. I want to address you, but I don't want to, say the wrong thing, but I don't know how to say it, but I totally agree with you. I'm the kind of person who actually downloads like high-res art. Mac, I'm going to call you Mac for now. and I put it on my phone because I like to look at that. It gets me inspired. Mac, perfect, awesome. I ESP'd it out of you. Yeah, and
black finger because I've been priming today. I was like, oh, my fingernail.
Well, what were you picking?
Priming.
Oh, yes. No, I actually heard you. I was just insinuating that you were picking something.
I just wanted to ruin your joke.
Thank you. I used to do that to Ryan all the time. It was hilarious. Have I looked at stock lately? I think Skaven have like 5 to 7 kits available today when I looked. Why they have a queue if there's nothing to sell? That's interesting. You know what? I think it's maybe they're just trying to start to get rid of their stock for AoS 4 if we're getting a reset of Skaven stuff.
Esri, I was priming a new display board.
Yeah.
Which I will hopefully have done for Cake or Death.
It is awesome.
I built it to kind of like be not just road trip travel friendly, but flight travel friendly, where I can kind of box it up and put it into checked luggage. So I'll put a photo of it in the Discord.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really fun. We've got plans for it. More plans for it. He's been hard at work. I read audiobooks, and the AoS audiobooks are sparse. 73 hours heresy books, and there are only 2 Slaves to Darkness audiobooks. Yeah, it's one of those things because like there are more. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy because like 40K lore has been out for so long and it's very successful, and so it has a fan base. It's kind of like when I started trying to do some 40K content for 9th edition on the channel and got hardly any views at the time because I built an audience of AoS people, right? And 40K, there's way more people out there for that. So it doesn't mean that there's no demand for it, but there is definitely less of a demand than the 40K books. So they keep printing money essentially, right? And they have started doing it, but like, unfortunately, you know, that sort of side of things, the lore fanatics like me and other, you know, like Dan, who's been on the channel, and there's a few other people who have been on the channel that are into the lore. You know, it just hasn't caught up yet. And you know, frankly, like they're like, I don't know, has Dan Abnett ever written an AoS book? Like, he might not have, you know. He's like their 40K guy, but he's like their biggest draw probably for names. Now that William King doesn't seem to, I don't think William King writes anymore. But, and for those that don't know, William King is the one who wrote the original Gotrek and Felix novels. He created that sort of world, those characters and whatnot. And those books are amazing. I think he clearly has the best prose out of any of the authors. And he also wrote like the Ragnar series for 40K. Like he's done 40K stuff as well. But yeah, like, you know, the best person for me that writes AoS is Darius Hinks, and he writes the new Gotrek series. And I did like a review on the first one, and all 3 of those books are fantastic. If you want to get into AoS, start there. He is fantastic, and he used to write fantasy, and he's written 40K and everything else. And then the other one is C.L. Werner. Is really good. He wrote the Cursed City book, and he wrote all the old Thanquil novels from fantasy and whatnot. But he's got like a very gothic horror kind of style to him, even when he's not writing like a horror type novel like Cursed City. But yeah, very good, very moody. Yeah, FEC almost out of purgatory. Yes, Mason. I can't wait. I've been building lists on like Google Note and Google like Docs and whatnot, and I've now got all of their points memorized right in time for them to change, I'm sure. But yeah, I can't wait. I've been hard at work when I can, so yeah. What was that? Oh, you answered that. Also, with Old World getting bombed makes it hard. I hope they're not blowing up the old world again. Like, I just don't want to hear about it, you know? I'm not sure what you mean by bombed, but... Or maybe you mean, like, it's been, like, popular, so they're just, like, bombarded on the website? Sorry, because it's on a delay. I'm not sure what that was in context to, but yeah. And then I guess, so we don't have... Okay, we can go through it if we want. You guys let me know what you want to do in the chat, okay? And you're going to get to decide for everyone. But the coolest thing that they've had, for me anyway, on the Warhammer community page in a long time is this article called Gourmain's Gallows, right? And it's like these fake questions sent in by people from Azir, and he gives these judgments, and it's awesome. It's hilarious. I read the first one, and I didn't read anything more after that in case we wanted to like react to them on the stream or whatever. But yeah, you guys let me know what you want to do. I would prefer the thumbnail was Gourmain's Gallows anyway, but yeah. GDI, can we get the Dawnbringers 5? Oh, yeah, that would be great. Yeah. I would love that. Yeah, and Usharan and the whole death side of things is coming in that. Oh, no, that's the fourth book. The fifth one's what, Chaos or something? It's like Ulgu themed, right? Yeah.
Fifth one?
Isn't it? So the death book is book 4, and then book 5 is Daughters of Cain.
There's a Daughters of Cain, new character, and then so it's more about like the Twin-Tailed Crusade.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
I thought it was Ulgu focused for some reason, but because it's called like the Shadow of the Crone or something. I don't know. I'm probably reading into things. Just saying Horus Heresy and 40k is a continuous lore rather than... Oh, yeah, that's true. That's a good point. Yeah. That's a really great point.
Speaking of that Dawnbringers 4 book, though, we saw that there's a bunch of regiments in Renown that came out through it.
Oh, that's true. Dang. I should have...
AoS Coach did like a big talk through the whole book with Madigan. Most of it, I think, is like kind of ignorable. Like, it's narratively cool. But Matthias just latched on to one of the regiments Renown, which scares the crap out of me. And he played it against me, which scared the crap out of me even more, which is the...
Manfred one.
Yeah, exactly. Sterniest something.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's Manfred, Graveguard, and then 2 units of Fellbats, which when you put those into any other death army is good kind of on its own, because Fellbats are great for like surround and destroy and just kind of covering ground. But also, there is, at the start of the hero phase, you can teleport outside of 6 inches of enemy units instead of 9 inches with like one of the units. And Graveguard have a cool, real fun little musician ability, or maybe standard bearer, which basically makes it so that any charge roll that they have that is less than 6 is treated as a 6, which means they just auto charge out of teleportation, which is kind of scary. And when they get set up in such a way, they get +1 to their attacks, because that's just like what the Regiment Renown does. So the Graveguard could potentially be, I think, +2 to their attacks if Manfred does his thing where he like attacks with whatever his special weapon is and manages to deal damage.
Yeah. And
then they could just be like auto charging out and just absolutely shredding something. So that's pretty scary to think about, especially when you put it in like OBR, which has mobility issues.
And the weird thing is I mean, like, I know you're not getting the Soulblight Allegiance abilities, but you're getting a discount on those guys, and they have some of their Allegiance abilities in there. And you're getting them at a discount, so it's kind of interesting. You didn't read the article? You'd love to go through it? I'm totally down. Like, we can start to go through it. You guys let me know. I did read the Skaven story, Bahamut, and we talked about it. I think it was last week, but it might have been the week before. And it's really, really good. The ending is fantastic, and I didn't and won't spoil it for anyone, but yeah. It's unreinforced Graveguard. That's true. I thought about that too, funny enough, but yeah.
It's still pretty scary.
They're still Graveguard.
You can't really buff them up because it's started a hero phase that they teleport. But I mean, most people know how to screen for like a 9-inch teleport. Not a lot of people can screen for 6 inches. That's a little harder. So well, I could see them less so being used for like a hammer to take out another hammer. But they could probably squeeze. They're on 25 mil bases. They could probably squeeze in and nuke some characters if you're not careful.
Well, and Manfred fights at the start of the combat phase, rather. Anyway, so yeah, you could charge in, and then Manfred gets to fight, and then they get to fight as well. And if he does the thing with his scythe or whatever it is, then yeah, you're a has-been now, according to Alex. He always says that, though. Yo, Matthew, thank you. Woohoo, 1 month in the books. Great channel, love the streams. Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much for all your support. It's really appreciated. We love having you. You're always a very cheerful and nice and positive person. So, yeah, we love having you, and thanks for the support, man. It means a lot. I just assume my opponent will always make their 9-inch charges without fail. Well, actually, before I forget, too, you were saying, like, people don't, know how to screen for 6 inches. But, like, even if you're like, okay, I know that they can set outside of 6 and they can auto charge. Most of us have played enough games that we're sort of on autopilot with a lot of our deployment decisions. And so we're just like, 9 inches. And like, so you can know that that's there and still forget to actually do it when you know what I mean? And so, yeah, I could totally see that being a problem.
Yeah. Well, even just like, I'm not even talking about, relying on your opponent failing those charges. I'm more so saying like, you can easily cover the back of the board against like a 9-inch teleport by just keeping someone 9 inches from the back of the board, and it's not that big of a deal.
Yep.
Keeping 3 inches or 6 inches from the back of the board is a little tough though, just because like that's all of a sudden you're really sacrificing like your ability to move forward to be able to do that. And then I'd be surprised if someone was able to do a 360 screen around their entire army, unless you're like Big Wad or something like that.
Yeah, keeping it out of all the spots where you don't want them. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And because Graveguard are so small, they're on 25 mil bases. They can just be like in a big line of 10, essentially. Yeah. If there's like just a 1-inch gap at the back of the board, and then just go boop directly forwards in an auto charge, which is kind of crazy.
Yep. And there's still incoherency if they're base to base too. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I agree, Maballs. I do think that they're very high output. So, for like what they are, especially even unreinforced. Necron Monolith at the Worlds was the same way. Different deep strike, and dude forgot about it. Cost him the game. Really? I didn't know about that. I know. I've been hearing about those monoliths though. Real popular all of a sudden. Like, and I'm kind of glad about it because it was one of those units. And I mean, Carson, you used to play Necrons. It was one of those like really cool looking models that I was just like, oh man, I wish that was good. And then apparently in 10th edition, it's real good. So that's cool. Yeah. It's not just another croissant, which you are a big fan of. Okay, here. Let's read a Gormain's Gallows, okay? Let's read just one of them. Okay. So. Honorable Judge Gormain. My opponent insists that his Ironweld Great Cannon is able to target my Troggoth King, even though I very carefully tucked Trug behind a Loon Shrine out of sight. Now, yes, it's true that the tip of his club is poking out from behind a corner of the moon, but I hardly think that a cannonball to the snail shell would inflict D3+2 damage on my grumpy liege. How do you rule? Signed, Tried and True Line of Sight. Okay. He says, verily, 'tis fortunate that you brought this matter to the court. For questions of visibility have, throughout the ages, spoiled long-held bonds into bitter poison. Can keen-eyed archers loose their arrows at a proudly fluttering banner? Does the tip of a spear expose an entire regiment to a gout of dragonfire? Should even the noblest commander really be standing so cocksure atop a prominent boulder? I thus proclaim my judgment and so preserve your friendship. Cut the Troggoth king in half. Now he is definitely no longer visible, and I will eat the other half.
It's only fair.
He's so fair. He's like Solomon, right?
Yep.
What do you guys think? I think that's perfectly fair. Yeah. I don't know. I love that they do this stuff because, like, honestly, like, this is so, you know how GW does everything ass backwards, right? They're so backwards in so many ways, and it's mostly a bad thing. But this is kind of something from those old days that they do that doesn't really get them anything, but it's so awesome. It just makes me like them more. You know what I mean? It's this weird thing. Like when I phoned up Forge World one day, and they're just like, "Hello?" I was like, "Hello? Sorry, I thought I was phoning Forge World." And they're like, "This is Forge World." And I was like, "You answer the phone like that?" And they're like,
"Hello,
yeah.
Forge World speaking."
Yeah. It's just like, I was like, "This is definitely not a business." Like, I was expecting a machine, you know. So that was actually kind of a double-edged sword, because like when I used to answer the phone in my business, I'd be like, "Blah blah blah, Rob speaking." You know what I mean? Like, I give the name of the business, but. Anyway, yeah.
Kind of. They're surprised that anyone called.
Like, yeah, I know.
Hello? The phone is like dusty, and they're like,
"Yeah,
hello."
Yeah. Does this thing still work? Yeah. It's one of those things where you hold the thing up to you stand at the booth. Yeah. Like, operator. Yeah.
Oh, Get me Forge World.
Get me Forge World. Post haste.
I wish. Buy a Tyrannid Biotitan.
Exactly. They also blow those off. Yeah. Oh, man. To model for advantage. I mean, he is, but like, it's the wisdom of Solomon. Okay. You're saying maybe he's biased. Let's read another one. "O wise grand justice, I've been accused of cheating. My opponent says I'm using weighted dice to ensure that I roll an endless stream of sixes for my Aurelin Wardens. Sure, I've been on a bit of a hot streak, but I swear I never meant any harm. I received these dice from a helpful and trustworthy looking stranger. I had no idea they might be loaded. Am I going to be disqualified? It's only my first offense. ... Signed, Mortally Wounded Reputation." I love these monikers that they're adding. He says, Order. This court does not operate on hearsay and rumor. A simple test for loaded dice is to drop them in salt water and see whether the same number floats to the top each time. 'Tis similar to the practice of dunking witches, and draws upon the well-established principle of natural philosophy, for cheating is a form of witchcraft. Okay, it's the same thing. The same part. Okay. "Should thou prove guilty, the consequence for swindlers who employ prestidigitation," oh my gosh, "in games of chance is laid out in the ancient laws. Amputation of the fraudulent fingers." Okay, I like where he's going with it. More things to eat. "Yet your pleas of ignorance touch this court deeply. After long consideration, we may elect to commute your sentence. The royal decapitator shall use his smallest axe to remove only one hand." That's so fair. "Pay heed. Not only shall our judgment stand as a warning to all who trespass against the fairness of the Summer King's gaming parlors, but shall also compensate you with 5 fresh knuckle bones with which to carve new dice. Your tears of gratitude are appreciated, but unnecessary." I like how they're like acting it out like someone's actually crying in front of them. This is godlike, man. Oh, shoot. Oh, man, I love that they do this stuff. Okay, well, sorry. Boxcars was insane. Alex, "Do you want sniper-prone Wraith Lords? Because this is how you get sniper-prone Wraith Lords." I mean, that's true. At least they didn't answer the phone with, "We know the resin is warped. No refunds." Yeah, I know. Oh, man. I wasn't phoning about that. I've been actually lucky. I've bought 3 things from them, and I haven't had anything warped before. This is great. They actually tell you how to salt dice. Just don't salt the GW dice. Yeah, that's true, actually. They're probably more prone to wonky rolling. If it's a different side each time, but it turns out all the sides have 6s. That's another thing that actually happened, yeah. Oh, man. But at least they're not toilet dice. Am I right?
That's true. I mean, any dice can be toilet dice if you want.
That's true. I don't know where we're going with that, but...
Nope, there's nowhere to go with it. So just next thing.
Next thing.
That was my input.
Oh, man. Do we want another gourmet? What are we doing here?
We could do that. Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
More.
I like how they're written like, what's it? Dear, I forget what her name was. You know, like those self-help columns or whatever. Most esteemed magistrate. And I believe because they're using that as a title, they should have actually capitalized magistrate. My opponent just set up a charge against my Arcanaut frigate. I reminded him that I had a whole squad of Grundstock Thunderers on board, so the Unleash Hell command would really chew him up, but he went for it anyway. Then, after I issued the command, he told me that his Mournfame pack can only be wounded on 6s by Unleash Hell attacks. This isn't fair, right? He should have warned me first. Backseas and bylaws. Yo! Thank you again.
I also love that Alex's last message before getting gifted membership is just great.
Make a bidet fires dice at your phone. What the hell is going on here? Oh, man, Matthew, thank you so much for gifting a sub for Alex. That was so kind of you, man. Oh, my God. Matthew, you're a hero, man. Should I salt test the Skaven dice when I order them from you? No. I mean, I haven't actually done that before, but yeah, if you've been watching the channel, you know that they definitely hit both ways. The Kraken dice might need a bit of a they might need an actual test. Yeah, a message truly worthy of a gift. Yeah, thanks again, Matthew. That's really kind. And if you guys do join I'm going to change the emotes. But if you guys do join, there are 4 emotes. There's the Bad Moon, there's Hansel the Rat, there's the Kraken, and then there's a chunk of Warpstone. And I think I'm going to replace the chunk of Warpstone with the new Meat King symbol, but up to you guys. So, okay. So I don't know if we still remember. They are a little suspect, but like, I swear to God, like, watch the last one with Eric. What was he? I think it was Stormcast versus Cities. I think it was that. And Eric uses the Kraken dice and they roll very poorly for him. So they're not, it's all in the wielder. It's not the tool. It's the person, right? Okay. Anyway. So this is Gourmain's response when he's talking about the Unleash Hell thing. Okay. The laws of war are complex and many-faceted, so much so that even I must keep a tome of legal minutiae on my person to refresh my memory. It is always good practice to avoid confusion and clarify the intent of your maneuvering, rather than entrapping rivals by invoking obscure rules ex post facto. Thine opponent's conduct is therefore not illegal, but rather unsporting. As such, only one sensible course of action remains. Challenge him to a duel, and let whoever draws first blood cast their opponent into the kennels of the Offal Hounds. As a personal addendum, I would encourage the plaintiff to consider the virtue of forgiveness. Memory can be a fickle thing. One day you too may forget something you should have remembered, or remember something you wish you could forget. Oh, how I wish I could forget. Bring the next case. Awesome. Love it. Oh, wow. Oh, my goodness. Love the channel, guys. Always glad to support. You have been fantastic, Matthew, and we're super happy to have you again. Yeah. Oh, man. That one wasn't as funny as the first two, I think. Like for me, didn't have like that flavor. It was pretty good. It had a twist in there. I didn't expect it. This one is just a consequence of playing such a complex game. Did they assume you knew and wanted to get some damage and or suppression fire effect? Did they let you go back on your decision? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this is true. I was
err on the side of like letting my opponent know everything like that before.
This does feel like a bit of a gotcha. So
I could definitely see someone forgetting.
Yeah.
But I would probably do something like retroactively let them take it back.
Well, yeah, because it's super easy to just kind of go, well, you can just not spend the CP and like they charge in, right?
Yeah.
You're like, I'm going to unleash hell. You spend your command point, and then they're like, oh, by the way, I only hit on 6s, right? I mean, I think these are all made up, by the way.
Of course.
But if this were the case, then like you just get your CP back, and then you don't get to do any damage, right? I read that one and thought, wait, is Gormain aware of the delusion? Yeah, right? Yeah, I forget his background. I read it when the book came out, but it's been a long time. Yeah. I kind of like that we're weighing in on these, though. Like it's like it really happened.
They are real, like, common issues, I think. Yeah, well, maybe the rigged dice one is not super, super common, but I think the one that we just did is actually, like, quite common.
Yeah.
Where it's...
Which one isn't super common?
The rigged dice to be 6s?
Right. Yeah, I've never... I mean, like...
Intentionally, anyway. I'm sure that there's a lot of dice out there that are, like, accidentally rigged. Or, like, not even rigged, but just, like, a little bit more weighted to be better rolls, like 6s or something. But to have an actually purposefully weighted to 6s dice...
I've never encountered that before.
I've never encountered it either, that I know of. So
yeah. I mean, I know, like, Ryan has, like, encountered where people are like, there's something going on with your dice, and there isn't, and he always says to them, here, you use my dice, I'll use your dice, and he continues to roll insane. So yeah. But I remember I don't know if you remember, but during 8th edition, I think it was Death Guard had like these really famous Nurgle dice, and they were plastic. And then they had these little like buboes or whatever you call them, like, but they were made out of like a rubbery kind of material, and they were soft, and they came through. And apparently those dice were crazy bad. But a friend of mine, Pete, had those dice, and they rolled like utter trash for him every single time. You really got that Skyrim thing going on in and out of the meat dimension. Oh man. Oh, you've got them? What? Oh, those are Necron dice. Okay.
Same thing though. These are made of plastic.
Okay.
And
they have rubber?
They're not rubber, but they're hollow.
Okay, yeah.
They're hollow and they're like inset. It's hard to tell on stream.
It's like the Skaven dice, right?
But it's just like there's no way that these are properly weighted.
No.
I've had these for a while. But yeah, these are
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Skaven dice were like that, but fortunately, like, they tended to roll really poorly. They tended to roll a lot of ones, so no one complained about them except for the Skaven people who were actually using them. But the Nurgle dice were... But my point, though, is that the Nurgle dice were famous for rolling, like, way too good, but my experience with them was that they rolled terrible. And they're probably the most famous one for rolling good from GW. You broke my dice curse last game. It was glorious. Nice. Congratulations. Yeah. Did you just...
Was that against me?
I guess so. Did you microwave them? How did you break the curse? Right? Inquiring Minds. The squig dice were awesome. Those were cool. Unfortunately, the paint rubbed off on those way too easy. But I would still way rather go back to the days of crazy dice than what we currently have, which is super boring. Just like opaque dice. Like very...
I agree. I'd rather have like crazy, but very obviously not tournament usable dice.
Yeah,
than
exactly.
Very simple, but still probably not like pretty skewed dice.
Yeah.
being like showing up in tournaments. That's why I think like from now on, I'm probably going to be sticking with our warp dice, like translucent ones for like GTs. Just because like you can see if there's bubbles in them. They're like very low etch. Like they seem to roll very average. So I'll probably be sticking with those.
I don't think that's a bad idea. They seem to, most of it is very much the, what do you call it? It's kind of in your psyche too, because they're all, cubes, perfect cubes. Like, you know what I mean? But we're all so superstitious, even those of us who are like not superstitious at anything else. You like the Baron of dice? Yeah. I actually have the same supplier, Ladivicus. My dice are the exact same. And they are much cheaper. Anyway, it's not a shot at him, but they are way cheaper because you're paying in Canadian. So it's... Anyway, for Nurgle dice were not the easiest things to read. Yeah, that's true. They weren't as bad as some of the other ones, but they weren't great to read. But that same friend, he also played Eldar, and I don't know if you remember the Eldar ones, but the Eldar ones were like 14 millimeters, so they were a little bit smaller. And then they had like a big Eldar symbol for all of them. So you couldn't read them. You didn't know what they were. But then in the very corner, there was like one little tiny number. And I was like, come on, dude. Like from across the table. I'm just taking your word for it. But
yeah, I think the OBR dice are kind of bad for that too, where it's just like, it's a hand that's like showing this basically.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know what those say. And
yeah,
I remember having to like be like staring at my opponent's dice. It's like, it's not that I don't trust you. It's that I wouldn't trust myself to get these right on first glance. So that's like true. We need to double check.
So, and I've been on that side of things too, because I do love thematic dice, and I totally bought the Deepkin dice, and I thought they were so awesome. But when we were playing on that white table, you know what I mean? And from across the table, no one was able to read them. So I would bring my dice tray over and I'd just be like, I'll just roll them next to you. And the person was always just like, oh, I'll just trust you. But it was just kind of like, it just didn't feel good for either side. Because I was like, yay, thematic and fun dice. But I did buy the one that I probably like the best out of any of GW's more recent dice is the Deepkin dice. Because they are like teal translucent dice with white symbols on them. So they're super easy to read. But they're still like as thematic as it probably gets for, water themed, ocean themed dice. But
yeah, well, that's what I like about our club dice so much is that they're like warpstone green, translucent, and then just white pips. And it's just, I could be 10 feet away and I could probably read what the dice says.
Totally.
So there's no second guessing or like my opponent not knowing what they were.
Yeah. Yeah. The only problem with translucent dice is they don't show up on camera.
Fair.
But I actually think that the new Hypnosland dice are the easiest for me to read because they have white pips, and then they also have like they're the cubed ones, and for some reason it's just a little easier on camera to see from far away. I don't know what it is, but the LRL dice, I remember those dice. Yeah. It's like watching someone throw mahjong tiles and just tell me stuff. Yeah, like they're like a fortune teller. Like they're reading the bones. Yeah, that's totally what it's like. From testing on some YouTube channel, square dice roll more fairly than rounded corner dice. That's I heard that actually. And our warp dice and my Hypnosland dice are both square corner dice. It just seemed like that's where the market was going too. Like it seemed like everyone was looking for square corner dice, which is why I actually did it. But I find that the only downside to the square corner ones is that I can't fit as many in my hand quite as easily. But
yeah, there's also something a little less satisfying about not being able to be like woo, and they like bounce all over the place and then they settle. And square dice just go like thump. And then that's what they are.
They do tend to do that. It depends on what you're rolling on. Apparently they roll more if you're rolling on felt or that kind of thing.
Okay.
I don't know if that's true or not, but it makes what you're saying makes more sense that they roll better because it's like they're round. They're just more round, But then anyway, that's fine. Yeah. A bit of a
but
tangent.
I mean, that's where actually the imperfections of the dice can cause skew. Is the more they can like roll around and shift around and then settle on something, the more likely they are to kind of land on the more weighted side. Right. Whereas if a square dice just goes thump, it's just literally you like throwing them at the table, and there's just less time for that to be the case.
That's true. Although the reason that they do use very sharp dice in casinos, because you can't do the Jigaboo Jones thing, because when you throw it and they're that sharp, and it's more likely to catch the felt and cause more rotations, which is more randomness. And then at the back of the craps table too, they have like little cones to create further randomness and whatnot. But yeah, that's why you have to hit the back wall when you throw craps. But yeah, it's pretty interesting though, the whole, wobbly dice makes me angry. Oh look, it's gonna land at a 2. Wait, Weeble Wobble, it's a 6. Though, I mean, that's fine. The worst is when it's the opposite, which is what I'm sure we all feel like it is most of the time. Like, oh, it's going to be a 6. Nope, it's not. It rolled completely onto the other side, and it's now a 1. Well, that's too bad. Bahamut says that's why you have to throw at the wall of the table.
Yeah. Just hope that your opponent's playing Gargans and you can just whip your dice at the Gargans.
Yeah. Off his forehead, nothing but dice. That was the problem actually with the squig dice, is because you would just drop them on the table and they would just fire off at random angles, and they were so much heavier because they were bouncy ball material. They could like people actually broke models with them. It was crazy. We're kind of lucky, or GW's kind of lucky they didn't have like a class action lawsuit from Squig Dice or something. Precision backgammon dice. Yes, that's true. Very pricey. $20 for 2? Jeez. I actually was going to use the casino dice on the channel to do the turn order just because I thought it'd be fun and it's a little bit bigger so people can see. But the problem was it was marking up the table. It was just like, nope, not doing that. Yeah. Dice Tower, that's true. Dice Tower is good. Trick to use the old heavy metal dice. Yeah, I've got some of those for like D&D, like these guys, like off of Amazon. But man, they just sound awful when you throw it on anything but like a neoprene, mat or something like that. Nice. Yeah, similar. I like it. Yeah, I still had mine out from playing. That's cool. I got them pretty cheap off of Amazon. They're like dragon themed. But yeah, that's true. What Max says, casino dice are the best. Since the pips are flat against the surface and they're made from the same density. Exactly. That's why I was just telling other people about it. Tungsten dice. Oh my god. Yeah. But you got to be careful with tungsten because it's more easy to shatter. So you drop it on something really hard. Theoretically, it's unlikely considering how thick dice are, but yeah. That's why like they recommend.
What you drop it on, I guess.
What's that?
It depends what you drop it on, I guess. If you like accidentally roll off the table, maybe.
Yeah, I know that's what they do for like if someone gets in a car accident. The reason that they think that tungsten rings are good is because they can just take a hammer and shatter the ring off of your finger. Whereas like some metals that are really strong aren't good to have a wedding ring because you can pinch and then it's really hard for them to cut off, and you can like lose the finger more likely or something. But yeah, a set is $600. Jeez, whoa, that's wild. I've never even heard of these.
You could get dice made of what is it, hematite, which is like magnetic. So you like throw your dice and they just go all back together, and then you get this incomprehensible mess of dice. That'd be great for your opponent, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds great. Yeah. Or if you roll them like near near your opponent's models, if they have anything magnetized on the bottom, their models just like just fly across the table.
Let's get out of here. Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, Sean, we've been saying it too, man. We were hoping it was going to be for today's show. Hopefully it'll be this Thursday, as we kind of all predicted from the beginning, and then we'll get to talk about it next week. But
yeah, I'm surprised. I'm genuinely surprised. I'm very glad that you're all here, but I'm super surprised that 25 people have showed up just to watch us talk about literally nothing. Just flying by the seat of our pants.
And no, like read out Gourmet's nonsense and
yeah, exactly.
Maybe it was the this. I mean, the stream title is very accurate to what we are bringing. You know, there's no snake oil here, right? But yeah, but thanks to everyone for joining us. It's super awesome. You know, that's true.
Yeah, the problem with the saltwater test is I keep dropping my dice into the ocean and then losing them. So I never really know what the result is.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I don't know why you kept doing it with those metal dice. That seemed wasteful.
Out, man.
Yeah, but
it's an expensive lesson.
Saga of Seinfeld, a stream about nothing. Oh man, Sean, I've been meaning to message you, so message me, okay? About that scenery, man. We gotta hook up, and because I wanna take you up on your offer. I want to get more terrain for the channel going, and you're the only man I can trust. Yeah. That's metal crazy. Boats float, so metal dice should as well. That is a great point. You know what, Carson? I was wrong. You're right. You
all right, I'll
drop more metal dice in the ocean. I'm just gonna scoot over to the ocean in my chair very slowly.
You know, I could if I got onto the street, I think I could roll down into the ocean.
You probably could. Yeah.
With the momentum, it would carry me past the sea bus, I think.
Yeah, I do think so. If you roll them on Chesterfield, because there's just like
yeah,
yeah,
it goes right down.
Yeah. Man, yeah. I'm not going to say what I was going to say, but in my youth, we did some stupid things. It was not rolling metal dice down a hill, but we have done some stupid things before. Yeah. It wasn't rolling anything down a hill, just to be clear, but yeah. And I'm sure the statute of limitations, I was kidding. Should we do another gourmet?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
And by let's, I mean I'm going to sit here quietly while you do it.
While I read. That's why I took a sip of water. Okay. Here we go. Milord Gourmet, please help me out. As a beast lord. Wait, what? We're not even like in the game anymore. It's like, I'm an actual beast man. Anyway, sorry. It just totally got me up. As a beast lord, I enjoy launching attacks from unexpected angles. But after I put my entire army into ambush, my opponent won the first turn. Then dropped a gaggle of Puscoil Blightlords and Nurglings from reserves stretched out across my entire battlefield edge before running the rest of his drowned men along the other side of the board. This is an actual thing that happened too. I can't find a single free spot to deploy even a single measly herd of gores. Surely this isn't allowed. Signed on the chopping block out. These are so witty. Rules as written. It giveth this court no pleasure to dash a supplicant's hopes, but thine opponent is quite correct. If you cannot deploy your beasts, they are considered to be destroyed and forfeit. 'Tis a precedent established in ancient tournament record, and while you may find the matter frustrating, the new Summer Court legal code accepts its rules in the same style as its finest meats. Raw. Let this be a lesson not to place all of your eggs in one basket. Instead, you should employ a gaggle of Easter peasants to carry your eggs. Thus, you will have both eggs and servants who can hurl those eggs at anyone who offends you with terrible slander, spreading such lies as, Gourmain hasn't touched his suckling pig. Is he feeling unwell? Or, Gourmain spent an hour yesterday just screaming in an empty room. How peculiar. Next case. Oh, I like it.
Two things. Number one, eager peasants, not Easter peasants.
I'm sorry.
I don't know.
It's so much smaller. I really want to know what
an Easter peasant is, though. If that's a thing, I want one.
I'm sorry.
And then the second thing is the first turn, I think, in the core rules. I'm pretty sure it's the GHB that does the whole. If you finish deploying first, then you get to choose who goes first.
That's true.
Whereas in the core rules, you do roll for it. So.
That's true, but they said at tournament, and so that's what kind of I was like, but at tournament you would be using the GHB, but that's true. Maybe there's a tournament.
Maybe not.
Yeah, fair enough. Open rules. That's something I hope they get rid of for AoS 4. And I do want to do a future thing where we get rid of... Anyway, I'm totally flipping the script here, but like, get rid of open rules. We don't need it. Virtually no one uses open rules. It's like this hangover from AoS 1, early days of AoS 1. Totally useless. Narrative, totally should have that. Path to Glory, keep some kind of slow grow campaign. It does need some tweaks for sure. And obviously match play is the main thing that everyone plays, but yeah. I got a chuckle out of this one. Saw this in an old Tyranids versus White Scars bike army at an event. Yeah. That's like one of the most famous pictures in like... Actually, it's got to be the most famous picture in all of like GW tournament lore. Asri, that's great. That reminds me of that picture of the guard player and his line of guardsmen winning when his opponent couldn't deploy. Yep. I don't know about that one. I do remember the White Scars one, though. Wouldn't it be something if battle regiment drops went away and every game was a roll for prio? It would definitely shake the tournament scene. I know I think I'm probably in the minority, but I hope that they just go to a +1 system or something like that. I actually would like them to bring back rolling for prio. And the reason is because, so they did that for 9th edition 40K, and they did that, I mean, they had it in 8th, and then there was Seizing the Initiative and all this other jazz. And then for 9th, they did it, and 10th is just whoever has the higher roll just goes first. I prefer that personally because I don't like being able to like have a 1-drop, also know that I can choose to go first or second, and you know what I mean? Like there's nothing that the other person can do. It just makes it so that you can deploy in such a way that you know what's going to happen and the other person doesn't. And I don't like that personally. Now I know that you can, 1 drop versus 13 drops, and then the person with 13 drops is just like, they get all the information. But anyway, I'm not like a fan of it currently, but it will probably stay the same. I think it probably will stay the same, but we'll see. I'm curious.
I'm pretty happy with the current situation, but I am biased being one of the people that does run 1-drop armies. But I think that they could probably kind of iterate on like turns swapping, because at the end of the day, yes, everyone gets to play 5 turns. However, if one person wins every single priority roll, including the one to deploy, obviously they're going to be at an advantage, right? Yeah. And granted, you could say that about like any rolls. Like if they are just rolling hot for literally everything, chances are they're going to win the game, right? And if they're beating you on average in rolls, equal skilled opponents, the one who is rolling better will win. But it would be nice for some sort of like clawback priority thing. Like maybe if someone has had one priority 2 turns in a row, the other person just gets it next time, or like it's constantly adding onto the dice roll or something like that. Or that's just like a random example. But it'd be nice if there was some rubber banding in that sense, instead of it just being like a roll every single time.
I agree. I think I would, from my idea for prio, like I definitely don't think they're going to change prio at all. But my idea for prio was like, it goes back and forth, and then but the person can roll, like the person who is going second can roll a dice, and then on like a 6 or something kind of remarkable, they can seize the prio, and then it's not quite as, like all over the place, like double turn the other way, and then, you know what I mean? It's just like the only downside to the double turn in general, and I actually don't want the double turn to go away, just to be super clear. I don't want it to go away. I'm actually happy with how it is now. But the only thing that I think remains, the only kind of complaint that I have about it is that, like, if you are low drops, like you're 1 drop, let's just say, right? And I'm high drops, which is often the case, depending on the army. But you're like, okay, you go first, right? And let's say you brought, I don't know, let's just say you brought an undergut shooting army, to pick a completely random example. That's not true. But so you pick that, right? And then I've got this slow army. I walk forward, and that's my first turn. And that's often the case. But then you've got a shooting castle, so then now it's your turn. And then if you win the priority again, it's your turn again. And potentially you destroy my entire army, and then the only thing I did the entire game was move forward slightly and capture an objective. This is kind of an extreme example, but it's something that regularly happens to people, and it happened to me a lot in AoS 2. And so that's kind of where I'm a little conflicted. Now, it's not like that anymore, and I don't really have the same problems anymore, but I think it's a problem for a lot of people out there. You know what I mean? Like, not everyone's playing the game 4D chess. Not everyone's going to tournament. The vast majority of people are beer and pretzels on a Saturday with their buddies or whatever. And so that's kind of,
Yeah, 100%. I agree that it could be changed. It could be better. But I will say one big concession that a lot of people kind of underplay is that the defender gets to set up terrain. And in the situation that you're talking about, that's huge, actually. Because what you can do is, let's say you're going up against a shooting castle army. And yes, the attacker gets to pick which side of the board they get to be on, so you can't skew it to one side. But if you're playing against a huge shooting army, you just line the center of the board, or give like very advantageous wildwoods, so that it's like, you can't shoot me while I'm behind this.
Yep.
And I've done that plenty of times.
That's true. And that's in the rules. It's not just a part of tournament. It's kind of one of those things too, where it's like I know when we played at our local store before, I don't know what's going on, but when we used to play at our local store, we would kind of just set up our stuff. We'd start to take our stuff out and put it on the table. So it was like, well, you could set up the terrain, but I'm just, you feel like a jerk if you're like, well, I kind of like your side better. You know what I mean? Like, most of the time in those situations, the person would probably be like, well, why don't you just change the terrain to what you feel like? Because I don't want to.
That happens at tournaments too. And actually at WCW, that happened like probably 4 out of my 8 games was whenever we were rolling for mysterious terrain. It wasn't, I'm going to come to your side of the table and take that. It's a bargain where you're just like, well, if you switch these 2 things, I'll stay over here. And if you just do this, and you kind of just like talk it out, like, all right, okay, we're happy. Sounds good. I don't want to move to that side of the table. So
yeah, exactly. Well,
it's funny that it still even happens there. Sorry.
Yeah. Exactly.
I didn't hear what you said.
Oh, sorry. Well, you kind of feel like a jerk if you're like, I want that side of the table. It creates kind of an awkward situation, and we're all, weirdo introverts, or maybe I'm just speaking for myself. But
the only time that you don't feel like a jerk doing that is if you're playing TTS, essentially.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Physical table for you to walk around and
copy paste your whole army over there, or whatever, cut and paste, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, Luke, that's kind of how I feel. I just feel like that about that. I don't want them to change the prio. I like, so when they first started doing it in 40K, I actually didn't like it. I was against it. And then our buddy Ryan pointed out, well, this way you have to deploy in a way where that's both offensive and defense. Like, because if you don't know if you're taking the first turn, you can't just deploy on the line, because you know you're going to go first, and I'm going to go alpha rush you. So that's my favorite thing about losing it. But as long as they keep like universal battalions like we've had in 3rd edition, then at least we all have access to the same basic things. Yeah. But
there's one thing that I like that Haywo brought up in like I think it was like a retrospective 3rd edition or something like that, where he was talking about just battalions in general and how 1-drop is like so obviously better than all of the other battalions. It's like not even funny. Where it would be better if 1-drop was the one that you picked and you felt bad about picking it because it was so much worse than the other ones. So I almost feel like maybe it's not that 1-drop needs to change functionally, like in how it interacts with the game. It's that the other battalion should have far greater benefits so that you're actually having to make the choice.
Yeah.
To do that.
Yeah, I like that. The only other one that like you see really is Warlord, and that's assuming your book has like awesome artifacts in it. The only other thing too is that like sometimes, I like what he said. I think the problem too is it's like the 1-drop battalion. I think there should be a negative to it. Maybe, perhaps this is just an idea, but like, let's say there's a negative to it, right? But you have unlimited slots. You can put everything into your 1-drop, up to 4 artillery, 4 behemoths, everything, right? So you never have to worry about it, and everyone just has access to it. And then, but it's got this downside. I don't know what it is, I don't know.
You lose the game.
You just automatically lose the game.
Yeah. You decide the priorities, the turn orders, whatever you want to do. Whatever happens in the game is all fun, but you lose. Sorry.
I mean, all's fair. Except the Acolytes, Primal Dice one gets a lot of use. That's true. Yep. The season ones actually, that's a great point. The season ones have regularly come up. I remember the anti-monster one.
Comes up too. Oh, that one too, yeah. Yeah, in previous GHB.
Yeah. It seems like there's one battalion in every GHB that's quite good. And that's cool. You know what I mean? But like, I mostly see Warlord, and then it's like, okay, if I just don't care about my drops at all, then I'm just going to fill up and get whatever little tiny bonus I can get out of it,
Yeah. And almost every book has pretty awful core battalions, which is really weird because like you would think that your book's battalions are the thing that you should be building towards, and they should give you a benefit that's better than what the core rules can give you.
I think that's a cause of them like flipping, because in AoS 2, that's what it was. Like, I know you were there a little bit for that, but like not as much. Obviously 40K was your main game then. And yeah, everyone just like was like, okay, first you go to the battalions, you see what there are, and then that way you know what units you're working with and what benefits, and then you build your army from the battalions most of the time. And so I think they were like worried about they didn't want to make the battalions too overpowered, and then it ended up being all about battle tactics, which we all saw coming, frankly. Like those things get you directly win you games. Like they're, most of the time it's like they're 40% of your points in most styles of games, right? Where you get up to 3 points for primary and then 2 points for that. So that's probably too much, to be honest. Like, I actually think maybe they'll dial it back, but yeah.
Yeah. Mac brings up an interesting point, which is, he says that all battalions should be 1-drop.
That's what they were in AoS 2.
Yeah. It'd be cool if it went back to that, and then you just get extra enhancements based on like the whatever configuration it is.
I'd love that. Like that would have been great. And then it would have just been like, okay, so then, it's just kind of about min-maxing that out. I mean, I guess there is the one point of, so we wouldn't pay for them like we were in AoS 2, right? And then it would, but then it would be seeing how many oh, I see. Yeah, that's a great idea, because then that way it's like, okay, well, if everyone has access to, like, you can just do a 1-drop battalion and it's your whole army, right? And that's the one battalion. And then it's like, okay, or you could have another battalion. It makes you 1 more drop, but it gets you this thing. And now you go from 1 drop to 2 drops. It also would speed up deployment, frankly.
Yeah, 100%.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Me too.
Yeah.
Smart.
I remember, when the battalions were all 1-drop, but the problem was like the Skaven ones were awful. They were like some of the worst ones. So it was like, you have to have a unit of storm vermin, you have to have a unit of clan rats, and you have to have, I think it was the warlord or something like that, and that was their best one. It cost you like 180 points, and it was just the worst. So you just didn't really see it very often, at all. And there were no universal deployment or universal battalions, rather. AoS 2, they also cost points. Exactly, yeah. And some of the armies actually got good ones. In AoS 1, they cost points as well. What up, Beefy? Welcome back. I speed up deployment by deploying seemingly at random. Yeah, I kind of do that too, Alex, where I'm just going to deploy my guys. I'm okay if you see them, but I'm not playing at tournament too, so that's, I probably wouldn't do that at tournament, but I might. Depends on how I feel. I'm an all the drops type player too. Yeah, I tend to do that. There's times where I go for a 1-drop out of bitterness that I don't have cool artifacts. Like IDK, I'm just like, ugh, screw this. Like I'm just taking an arcane tome. I'm not even taking like an actual, like I'm not even taking one. Or like KB, I'm just like, screw it. I'm going to go for a 1-drop because I don't like it. Not always.
It's kind of ogres, I think. Like I run Arcane Tome as well, and there's one good artifact in ogres, and it's pretty good. It's not like as good as some other armies, which is just gruesome trophy rack. Everyone all gutbusters wholly within 12 inches. They're +1 to hit against heroes and monsters.
That's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
Yeah,
but it's not better than Mystic Shield, I think. Like an extra cast. On the
no, I agree, but like, well, it would be. I would argue that it is in was it Gutbusters?
Underguts?
Sure.
Yeah, Underguts. It's almost mandatory, I would say.
Yeah, right. But yeah, no, like your point. But the other thing though too about ogres though is that you can always go like, well, our artifacts suck, but I can just take an extra mount trait or something else, But like in Deepkin, like. I think my number one choice, or I guess Potion of Hateful Frenzy isn't the worst thing, but the problem is you take wounds the next turn, and you're starting out with 7 on your Lord. I was taking Armor of the Sithai for a while just to be fun, and that's like 6s to hit against him don't do anything. But it's like you don't even know if they're going to have that. Like if you're facing Gits, it's like, oh man, this rocks. And if you're facing like Seraphon or something, or I don't know. Most of the armies don't have anything that happens on 6s, right? So
right,
yeah, that kind of thing.
But the ones that do,
that do,
coming.
Yeah, but against like a unit of 20, even just 20 squigs, you're gonna die anyway. It doesn't actually matter. It's just not doing mortals on 6s to hit. Oh yeah, Mystic Shield OP in AoS 3, it's pretty good, huh? Yeah. This is the save stacking edition, and I do expect that will change next edition.
I want that to go away so bad.
Me too,
man. Like it's crazy when something's like, yeah, I'm on a 0-up save.
Yeah, I'm like, on a cool. -1 save. Like, yeah, what are you even talking about?
If I had Ren 4, you'd still be on the 3-up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I need 2 rent just to get you into the positive numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's like no -4 rend in the game either. Like I mean it exists. I'm just saying it's almost unheard of.
And that is coming from someone who does save stack. Like I definitely take advantage of it.
Oh yeah. You need
I throw Stonehorns that are on a 0-up save at people sometimes. Or realistically, I throw them on a 1-up save
most
because
of the time,
Mystic Shield and all-up defense.
And with your -1 to wound too, it's just like, oh god.
Yeah.
5 up.
And then I'll Finest Hour in their turn just to add salt to the wound. But yes.
Yep. No spoilers for the game coming out. One artifact for the whole book. Please no. I like having cool artifacts. I like having a variety of spells, even if they're like mostly poopy and they're not well thought out, which is usually the case. Like the answer isn't to take away spells like what they've been doing in AoS 3. Although I kind of feel like they're probably leaning that way to just taking away more and more, because that's what they did in 10th edition for 40k. Like, it's even worse. So, I don't know. Don't take away my flavor. Using Hoarfrost as crutches? Yeah. Some armies need it, though. Coalesced, FEC. Brazier of Holy Flame is my go-to artifact for my COS Humies. I don't know what that does. Hoarfrost -3 rend, and then Mommet something for -1. Essentially -4. Absolutely. Yep. That's a thing. Or, what? Like, Trolls are on -2. And then you can give them the Gobapalooza for an additional 1, and then also do the Mommet, and then they're basically on 4, and you don't even need Hoarfrost. So you have access to it, but it's really rare. I think Gits are a bit of an exception where they have a little more access to it than normal. That juicy +1 on a Rockmane Elder Frostlord. Oh! Yeah. That's true. I got Ren 4 on my Magmadroth, and because I always play IJ... forgot Sylvaneth make you fight last, and they got me to fight last and slap my Durthu. Yep. I've been there. That's true. Yeah, against the Tree Lords. Mount traits are gone. Oh man, I hope mount traits aren't gone. Don't say that. Please, no. I love mount traits. I love more flavor. I love just being able to pick and choose things. You know? That's something that I really like about... Like, I was talking about this with you earlier, Carson, but not on the stream, obviously. But I do like, or was it you? I don't know. I think it was Eric, actually. I do like the old world. I liked old fantasy. But for the most part, I like everything about AoS more. But there were some cool things about fantasy. One of the things that I listed was moving 40 guys at once on a movement tray. I love that. As a Skaven player, I really love that, right? The other thing that I really liked about old fantasy was the magic system, where you rolled 2 dice and you add those 2 numbers together and you just get that many dice, and you can throw as many dice as you want at casting. They took that out of the old world. They don't have that, and now we have it in AoS with Blizzard and Primal dice, and things are crazy and super fun. And so now that part is better. But the one other thing that we still don't have, that they have in fantasy, that I really, really like, and I know it's never coming, but I still love it, and I'm just going to shout it out, is I love having artifacts for points. Because our game is already like, you can't add 1 or 2 guys, so it's already hard to kind of customize your army, and I actually really like doing that. I really like taking out 1 guy and adding this, and you know what I mean, moving things around for points and getting as close together as possible, and whatever. But they have, you know, artifacts and different things for points, so you can have like, and then that way it's just like, well, we can adjust, you know what I mean? Like if this banner that you can give them, it's like currently 50 points, it's totally OP, you can just make it more points. We don't actually even need to, you know what I mean? You can find that sort of happy medium. That's something I really like, you know, but yeah, 5 and 10 point upgrades. I know it's probably a little bit too like meta in the weeds, you know what I mean? Minutia of list building for the crowd that tends to attract AoS, but I like it.
Yeah, I think the only argument I have against that is that, so if you're arguing against like having artifacts and then having artifacts that like cost money essentially, or like more options, I think that either way, there's almost always like one correct choice.
Yes.
Unless you're just short on points and then you're like, I can't do this because I'm like 5 points under or something like that. It just doesn't fit.
That's true.
In that sense, it's preferable, but I think that it's still going to be an issue. Whenever you have options, there's almost always going to be this is the better choice.
That's true.
At best, it's going to be, if you're doing this is the correct choice. If you're doing this is the correct choice. That's a well-designed book, but most of the time it's usually just like, here's the best thing, and that's what you take.
That's true, but then if we had points, so everyone was complaining because Arcane Tome was too good, right? And so in the other world where it costs points, you just up the points. You don't need to mess around with how it fundamentally works, which is kind of cool. And in that world, it's like, okay, everyone's taking Arcane Tome. Okay, like that was a well-designed artifact. Then it's a useful artifact to a bunch of armies. If one army benefits like way more than another army, that's when you want to start maybe looking at changing rules. But I actually thought it was fine before, because like it was like the haves, got richer kind of deal when they start changing that kind of thing. But yeah. Like I'm in KB, I'm always taking Arcane Tome, but that was super awesome that it even existed to me. And then when it got worse and worse, it's like, okay, well, I guess I don't really need this anymore. You know what I mean? Like now I don't use it in. Do I use it in KB? Oh, I do. I use it on the big guy. But anyway, yeah. Mac, I agree. It is super fun. Like you can get really, really minute and detailed and just play with a couple, like 10 points, and that was something I enjoyed about 40K previous editions. Now they've kind of gone our way where you have to add whole units. It's kind of more like AoS. And so, but yeah, I don't know. I'm not really playing 10th edition, so take that how you will, but yeah. I feel like I'd be more attracted to list building if I felt that after a book being out for a week, there wasn't one competitive way to run that army. That's why the index days are really fun. But Matthew, like I'm not sure if this will work for you, but this is what I do. Like, so FEC came out. Everyone's like, obviously Hollowmorn's the choice, right? And I don't even disagree with them. But I was like, I'm going to see if I can make Blister Skin work. Spoiler, it didn't work. I lost every game trying these weird lists with like a bajillion priests in them and stuff like that. It didn't work. But I had fun trying, and I'm taking some of the ideas from those lists that I made and bringing them over elsewhere, and I'll see if I can make it work. But yeah, just because, I mean, like, look at Carson's probably the best example, because if you, he's got that deer in the headlights look now, but like before Carson was winning at tournament, the way to play not BCR, the way to play ogres was to play BCR, was to play monster trucks. That was the way. That was the list. And then he changed that.
It still is. Still is, apparently. I mean,
that's true. But like, but you were more successful with your list than they were with those other lists. And you know what? And like, I should probably mention that I don't think this is the case, but it's possible that I just didn't play Blister Skin very well. And Blister Skin, it turns out, is totally OP. I really don't think that's the case. I've really got over it with you, with Eric, with a few people. But that's still possible. And that's, that is fun. It is fun. It's fun to explore anyway. It depends on how hard you take the losses, but
yeah. Also, speaking of tournaments, one other talking point that we could have is, we'll finish up with this, but a Warp Dice member did just win a tournament over the weekend, so we could talk about that too.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, we're talking about it now. Okay, my
sure.
bad segue. No, there's a little RTT down in Bellingham. This kind of relates to a comment that Alex actually brought up earlier, where I changed up my list a bit, and he wanted me to talk about it, but I was hoping we could segue nicely into it instead of me just being like, we're talking about this now.
I mean, that's fine. But before you do that,
yes, yeah,
please do talk about, because like we haven't even talked about that much why you're choosing to play a different list than your current successful list. You know what I'm saying?
Do I know why?
I don't know. I'm assuming you had no reason whatsoever.
Well, first of all, I'd like to congratulate Dale for winning the RTT over the weekend.
Please.
Much deserved.
Clap, 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 clap.
But the reason why I changed my list is kind of, I'm trying to say this in like the least arrogant way possible, but I feel like because I've already secured a spot at the WCW.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I have to like bring, especially to an RTT, like be honing this list 100% of the time, just because like we know that this summer AoS 4 is coming out. Like they haven't announced it, but it's happening.
It is.
So me honing a list super specifically in the AoS 4 coming out, there's a good chance that everything's going to get shaken up and then it will kind of all be for naught. So I might as well just explore things. Actually try out different lists at a tournament. So I decided to kind of lean into Underguts for this RTT. And it's a list that I talked about during or it's a very similar list to one that I talked about during that Ogre stream. So it's like 3 cannons, a stone horn, a unit of iron guts, 2 lead belchers, some Noblars, the Firebelly, and then the Slaughtermaster. And basically it's just like you can pin stuff with the stone horn and you've got 3 iron blasters, and it was pretty cool. And spoilers, I played it in the game yesterday, so there's going to be a battle report with that list coming.
That's the next one coming out. Yep.
Cool.
It's going to be, and because I was able to just do the cameras this time and not have to play and do the cameras. We've got multiple cams up, and it's a lot more dynamic. So I hope you guys enjoy it.
Yeah.
Welcome, Thor. Man, it's been a while. My goodness. Long time, friend. I hope you're doing well. Hope you're still playing Night Haunt. Thanks for joining us. In 40k 10th edition, you could buy the units in chunks like in AoS, but the enhancement costs points. Oh, okay. Right. But yeah, variety is totally the spice of life. Completely agree. Let's go, Dale. Absolutely. Clap, clap, clap. Yeah. Dale's kind of gone back to daughters after got whacked multiple times for no good reason. And
yeah, he's been repping daughters for a long time. That
was his first AoS army. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, so I guess he has been repping it for a long time, but I think came 3rd Daughters of Cain in the ITC for 2023.
Cool.
Just pretty crazy.
Dang it. Now I can't say what I was going to say.
Why? What were you going to say?
Well, it's going to come across poorly now, but like there just there isn't as many people playing Daughters of Cain, and so I was trying to say like it's so cool that he's repping them when other people aren't, because it's like do you remember when that person brought OBR to LVO? Was it LVO? I can't remember what it was. Someone brought LVO to a major tournament, and you and I were going, "You go, boy," because it was before their book came out, and we were going, "That's so awesome." And that's kind of where I was coming from it, by just kind of going like, it's so awesome when people play what's not being played. You know what I mean? I know what that's like. Like I definitely, my loves don't change depending on what's good or what's popular. So in fact, I tend to lean towards, and Dale's always been like that, to be fair too. He's always leaned, he's kind of, I called him, what do you call it? An Age of Sigmar hipster, where he's just like, I don't want to play that. He wouldn't take Marathi, for example, because Marathi was like meta and super popular, and like the Marathi bow snake list was considered to be like the best list in all of Age of Sigmar at one point. And so he was like, screw her, and he made this whole like backstory about how he's all about Hellebrand and that kind of thing. So yeah, it's awesome that he's playing Daughters again.
Yeah. Like the faction actually does have some pretty high profile representatives.
Representation.
Gavin Grigar, which he played against Jeremy Lefebvre. Was it Lefebvre? Yeah, at LVO, who he came 2nd place.
Nice.
So he's an amazing player. Oliver Dempsey, I think, was number 2 Daughters of Cain. He's a really good player too. So like it's definitely got some very good players repping the faction. Not consistently like Dale is, but still Fair. Like enough to get 4 tournament results in, which is a pretty significant amount. So
that's awesome. I actually think they're really good, to be honest. Like
I think so too. I think one of the few like arguably true counters to the list that I usually run, purely because they're a glass cannon army as well, or not even really glass. They're a very high damage output army, and they've got the heart rune, which just subtracts all damage by 1. So it's like all of a sudden all my gluttons are doing 1 damage, and all my iron guts are doing 2 damage, and then he's rallying all those witches on 4s. Like,
and if you don't have a priest, there's nothing you can even do about it.
Yeah, and I've never beaten that list. So
damn.
Shows you something.
Yeah, yeah, that definitely does. Wow. Haven't been able to join the live, just the VODs. Well, we appreciate you, anytime you can, obviously. I'm like that myself, Thor, because like I used to regularly consume certain other podcasts and whatnot, like Warhammer Weekly, and I almost never get to tune in live anymore, So yeah, we appreciate all the support in whatever form. Looking forward to that battle report. It's really good. I don't want to spoil anything, but there's definitely a Skaven gleam in Carson's eye at one point. I know it because I just had the same gleam in my eye, and it's awesome. It's epic. It's amazing. Yeah.
Our hearts connected, and I rolled a die.
It's so true. It's so true.
Happens.
Our hearts connected in a couple of spots there, and not everyone's gonna know what they are, but
yeah.
Oh man,
no, it was a fun game.
It was a really good game.
But kind of to loop the conversation back around to why I'm probably not going to continue running that list.
I do know.
Yeah, you do know that, but it's cool. It's a cool list, and it certainly is good. But I felt that at the RTT this weekend, and some of the previous games that I played with it, the wins that I got were less so because I felt like I was able to like play strategically, and more so because I just kind of showed up to the game and it was a bad matchup for my opponent. And one really good example of that is I unfortunately played one of our club members the first game of the RTT because he didn't mark his name as warped dice, and then just opted not to fix it.
Who was it?
He was like, "Yeah, we'll just play a game." I was like, "Cool." It was Curtis.
Oh, right. You did tell me. I just forgot.
It was Ice Fields. He was playing Khorne with no wizards whatsoever, and I was like Underguts, like super shooting. So I was like, "Cool, I'm gonna deploy way back here."
Yeah.
And you're gonna be way over there, and I'm just gonna just blast you until you manage to finally get to me. And I know that he can't really do any tactics unless he's close to me. Whereas like with ogres, if I can get Magic Dom, I could do like 3 turns of tactics without even touching my opponent, and then maybe intimidate later. But like it was just rough. I showed up to that game and I was just like, I don't feel like I earned this win. I feel like I just received a win.
Right.
And that feeling kind of like propagated throughout a lot of the games that I played. And
it's just like rock, paper, scissors more than anything.
It's rock, paper, scissors. It's also just, it was really swingy as well. Like the cannons are, if your opponent doesn't have wizards, or sorry, if your opponent doesn't have like monsters or heroes that you can shoot, then yeah. So I felt like I wasn't able to be like influencing the game as much as I do with my regular list. So probably for Kick or Death, I'll keep my regular list and then maybe I'll explore something else later.
And yeah, I agree. I can see that. I can see someone who's just like shooting and likes ogres. And that list would probably be better if you want to just go to a tournament and drink and not worry as much. You know what I mean? Like, you know, it seems like a more relaxed way to play. Castle lists tend to be that way in general anyway. But yeah, that's true. Actually, Ledivicus, thank you. Yeah, if you guys are still here and if you're enjoying the content, please do hit like, subscribe. There's dice flying off the shelves. I still haven't put up the new meat dice on Etsy. I will do that as soon as I can. I've got it's been crazy lately, but we'll do that very soon. You can email me. Someone actually already bought 40 of them and bought some other dice as well. So yeah, that is the best way to actually do it, is to email me. But anyway, and if you're a member or you're a Patreon, you do get a $5 discount on each set of dice. So they go from $30 Canadian down to $25 each. Sorry.
Also, in late May, or basically like the last day of
Right.
May. I'm going to be going to Winnipeg for a tournament. I'll be coming to Battered Bison. So if you're in the Winnipeg area, you're coming to that tournament. I can just bring dice with me, and we can do like a special in-person, no shipping, whatever deal, and we'll have more details on that later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well said. I almost forgot. With beverage. Dale was getting that event win in before his crone comes out. Oh, right. Yeah, because we don't know what she does yet, though, right? Like, obviously, She looks awesome. I actually, that's my favorite Daughters of Cain model they've ever made. I love that model. But, yeah, that heart is hard for destruction. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of armies, you know. And thank you, Ludivicus, by the way. Do you guys play Warhammer 40K or Age of Sigmar? We just, on the channel, now we just play Age of Sigmar. I was playing a lot of 8th edition and less of 9th edition because, like, I was only playing it with Carson mostly. and then because our mutual friend moved away at the start of 9th edition, and so he was kind of one of the main forces of 40K in our area. But yeah, he actually, I don't know if I said this or not, but he was the #1 World Eaters player in Canada, and just by playing World Eaters, he was also the #1 Chaos Space Marines player in Canada. Yeah, it's pretty cool. And they're also a popular faction, by the way, in 10th edition. Yeah. As a shipping option, enjoy the privilege, people. Yeah, for real, yeah. Sorry, Keith, you won't be going to Australia anytime soon, unfortunately. Although
I'd love to go to Australia,
that would be so rad to go to CanCon or whatever, or just any tournament there. And
yeah,
that'd
be expensive.
That would be super expensive, but maybe
someday.
Yeah, someday soon.
I wonder if you could get like a flat rate shipping box and just like shove me in it with my army, loose models, and then I could just get kicked onto CanCon's doorstep, and they just like have to open it with a box cutter, and then hopefully I'm still alive.
I can't really see any downside to it. We can poke holes. We can poke breathing holes in there. Give you a little.
Yeah. So deep.
Yeah. Give you a little like porta potty. It'll be fine. It'll be fine.
Why is this box leaking pee? I don't understand.
Did someone ship their dog? Like, what is wrong with those people?
I'll have hair by the time I arrive.
Yeah, growling and howling at the moon. Events that would bring you over to Australia are on the opposite end of the country. Dang it. Are you on the west side then, Keith? I think. I don't know enough about the Warhammer scene there, but anyway. For just a lowly donation of $1,000, you too can have one of Carson's mustache hairs. Enjoy the trip to Australia. That's true.
I don't even know $1,000 probably wouldn't cover it.
Oh no, it would not cover it.
Yeah.
No, it definitely would not cover it. Australia is crazy. Oh, Western Australia. Okay, that's what I thought. I mean, I saw people flying to mainland China, like Shanghai, was like 2,500 or 2,800 in the summer, and that's a lot easier from Vancouver to Shanghai. Like, it's just across the ocean for us, basically.
Yeah, if I wanted a flight, I just looked it up. If I wanted a flight from YVR, so Vancouver to Sydney, the very cheapest option, which has enough connections for it to be 1 day and 23 hours worth of flight time, including layovers,
or traveling time,
it's still $2,100. So if I want a nonstop flight through Air Canada, it's $3,000.
Wow.
WestJet's only $2,150 nonstop, but still, that's a crazy amount of money.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard some people say too that actually the layovers for Australia, you actually want one layover, because otherwise you're just in a plane for like 24 hours straight, and it's rough. But I don't know. I've never actually been there, but yeah, my worst ever was coming back from Fukuoka. I had to fly out of Fukuoka airport at like, I think it was 7:30 in the morning. And then I went to Tokyo. I had a 13.5-hour delay in Tokyo. And then I flew to LA and I had an 8.5-hour delay that turned into a 9.5-hour delay before back to Vancouver. I was traveling for 36 hours. It was awful. And that's still not as long as that. At one day and 21 hours. My God. Yeah. That's almost 48 hours of traveling. That's brutal. If you visit Australia, hang out with AoS Coach instead. He is way cooler. Damn, Keith. Don't say that. We got to get you all together in the same room, and then you get like this trifecta of coolness. That's the way to do it. Yeah. Are you perhaps are you really shaggy? Because we could just you could have like a, like a sliding scale of amount of hair,
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, really shaggy, and then
Coach is like
beard.
Coach is, yeah, exactly, yeah. So if you have like a mop of hair and like a big beard, then
yeah, and then the other end of the scale is like NoHo Hank from Barry, just completely hairless.
I don't know him, but
oh, okay.
From Barry, Ontario?
No, Barry the show.
Oh, like the one on HBO.
Yeah.
I did see that, but I haven't seen it in so long. I think I know he's like one of the gangsters, right?
Yep.
Nice. Okay.
Chechnyan, I think.
Yeah, it just came back to me now, but yeah, it's been years. Can't do it. You will create a paradox. Not good for anyone. No. Oh, it was so close. We almost had the trifecta. I'm going to cry myself to sleep tonight. Again.
Just like every other night.
Exactly. More Tark of crying, am I right?
Yeah, more Tark of sad.
More Tark of wet pillow. Oh, nope, never mind. That's not where I was going with that.
What did I call you today? More Tark of GoPros?
Yeah. Oh man, you guys. So I got, and they're not real GoPros, by the way, that I use for the stream, because those things are crazy expensive. But I got my first knockoff GoPro for the dice cam. Worked quite well. So I was like, okay, I'll get another one. Got a screaming deal on this one that I ended up using for the overhead. And then right before Christmas, there was like a flash sale on what I thought was the exact same camera that I used for the overhead, but turned out to be a different version, and that I wanted to use for at the table. But it turned out that is the only one that it doesn't do close up. It's meant for like mountain biking and that kind of thing. And so, yeah, anyway, so I did figure it out after we filmed that battle report. So the next one will be better, which we are filming tomorrow. But yeah, I was talking about getting another one so we could have a really nice crisp image on all 4 cameras, but yeah. We'll see. Probably not.
We shall see.
Floof challenged. Less floof is not floofless. Oh, you calling Rob? Wait, what? I missed so much. My hair is similar to Rob. Oh, okay. Just the facial hair has more floof. Okay. My beard is floofless. It's true. It's like steel wire. Like when I cut it, it shoots off and it goes in people's eyes. And I'm not even exaggerating. It literally does that. So you be happy with your floofness. I'm over here jealous. Yeah. You could clean a sink really well with my beard. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
He does. I've seen it.
It's true. Yeah.
Shoves his face in the sink. Just...
Yeah. Well, and I don't know why, but I get neck problems lately. It doesn't make any sense to me.
And the smell.
It's a mystery of the universe. Yeah. I can't put to beard oil, Rob. That's true. I probably should. I did before, but I don't like a lot of... They tend to have strong smells to them, and I do not like the smell of sandalwood. I don't know why it's everywhere. I don't know why. At first I was like, this isn't bad, but now I'm just like, oh, no.
Yeah. I've got one that's yuzu that's pretty nice. It's not too strong.
You've got one with what?
Yuzu. It's yuzu.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah.
I should check that out.
And that's the end of that anecdote.
Indeed. Rob, steel wool. More Tarkov steel wool. It's just like more Tarkov whatever at this point. I'm jealous of Carson because he's just like more Tarkov meat. It's just there's one thing.
It just ends there.
Yeah. I feel like more Tarkov hype suits me. For you?
More Tarkov hype, yeah. Yeah.
For you, more Tarkov mustaches. Yep.
That's fair.
Yep.
I'll take that.
I think that's a good one, too.
It is my whole personality, after all.
Your whole personality used to be your mustache. Now it's basically meat and ogres.
Meat, yeah. Did I tell that that story on the channel about what happened in Tacoma, where I said my mustache is my whole person? That thing?
I don't think so.
Okay, so I've got these mustache dice that are purple with mustaches on them. A lot of people have seen them by now, and So I was at a tournament. It was like Game 4 in Tacoma, and this guy walks up to the table that I'm playing at, and he points at my models, which were right beside my dice, and says, "Oh, I really like the tattoos, or like I really like your models. They're painted really well." And then I didn't hear him because it was so loud in there. I thought he was pointing at my dice, like the little pips on them. And I was like, "Thanks. My mustache is my whole personality." And he just kind of looks at me. He's like, "Cool, man. All right." Just leaves. I had to clarify with him later because I realized what he said. Because from his perspective, it's just like, "Oh, I really like your models." I'm like, "Thanks. My mustache is my whole personality." He's like,
Didn't ask.
Cool.
And he's like, "Yeah, that guy Carson, he's pretty good at winning with ogres, but yeah, I don't know, weirdo. Man. Not a thought in his pretty head because
no, he's just wafting through a tournament. Somehow ends up doing okay.
Oh man. Oh dear. So you never saw him again, right?
No, we clarified it and we had a good laugh about it.
Oh,
later.
Got it. Okay.
So that would have been great if I never saw him again. He just thought I was just this absolute nut job.
Well, I was just like, I was hoping that maybe he would see this at some point and just be like, "Oh my God, that's what he was on about or whatever," right? Yeah.
If I recall correctly, he also either had or was frequently on a YouTube channel.
Oh, cool.
I just don't remember what it was for the life of me. And I think it was actually not even a small one either. It was like something maybe bigger.
Bigger is bigger than smaller.
It is bigger, yeah.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, there's quite a few, and yeah. I wonder if you jumped him, shaved half a stash, would you beat Carson in an event? If I jumped him, shaved half of his stash, would you beat him? That's the question. I mean, the question is how much of your power is in your stash?
The problem is I've tried to shave the mustache and it just catches my hand before the razor gets to it.
Yeah, like poison ivy vines.
And the worst part is that now it doesn't catch it from the outside. It goes through the rest of my body and stops the tendons from... Yeah.
Does it call you Seymour for some reason?
Yeah. Anytime I even think of shaving the mustache, it just pokes me in my nerves. Inflicts pain.
Inside your brain.
Yeah.
It starts working you like a robot from the inside. It might be beefy. Will says that's how I imagine all Carson interactions.
Well, you could shave half the mustache from the outsides, and then I would just get beaten up for the result. So that could work.
Wait, what do you mean you'll just get beaten up? Oh, got it.
Yeah.
You would need to, yeah. You'd have to trim it too, but yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yep.
I've never actually. I've done like lots of stuff because like I often shave my head in the summer, so I'll like shave it like samurai style at first, or do all these other things. But I've never done that. I've never done the old, whatever.
Yeah, I've definitely never done that either.
I'm lucky, I guess, because it's red or whatever. My beard is red, so like it wouldn't be quite. I'm still not going to do it, but yeah. Oh man. But the meat chant will probably beat you in a card park. Meat. Is a true lefty. Oh, man, the chat's devolved as far as we normally do, and I love it. I'm totally here for it. Oh my gosh. Oh, that's so funny. That might be the comment of the night. I've never seen my mustache like that. Or invaded Poland. God dang. Oh shoot. Oh man. Well, on that note, thanks to everyone for hanging out. The rest of this Gourmet article, which I'm going to read in my own free time, is on the Warhammer community site. Just scroll down until you find it. Next week, we are hopefully going to be doing the battle scroll. We can't promise anything because we don't know anything. Actually, and the one thing that I didn't mean to talk about tonight was don't believe any of the rumors. Like, I'm seeing on every single Facebook group, people go on, oh, dude, what was it? More Big Knights are going up 20 points. Like, I heard it and blah, blah, blah. I don't think we've ever actually seen one of the FAQ things get leaked that I can remember. GW plays it very close to the vest. Those are almost certainly just people on 4chan messing with people, trying to get a reaction out of you. It's almost certain. I mean, maybe
some of them will be correct.
Probably some of them will be correct, but
just at random. But yeah,
at random, exactly. There's no way that they're messing with all that stuff. But I don't think anyone's going to see that comment, so whatever. It's coming at the end of the thing, but next week once it comes out, we can say I told you so, or something like that. But yeah, anyway, thanks to the chat as always. You guys were hilarious as usual. It was nice to see so many people again, which we haven't seen in a while, like Thor. And thanks again to Matthew for all the support, much support. As a Skaven would say, it's very much appreciated. And yeah, we'll see you guys next week. Thanks for tuning in.